No. One word. That's all Clara Bennett had left when her father shoved her forward in the Silver Spur Saloon. One word against the roar of drunk men betting on her future, like she was a broodmare at auction. Outside, the Wyoming blizzard howled. Inside, her father's shaking hands pushed a contract across the poker table. 7 years of her life. Payment for his debt. Victor Hastings smiled. The kind of smile that made women disappear. Then a stranger's voice cut through the smoke. I'll buy that contract. $1,500. Cash. Right now. Before we dive into Clara's story of survival redemption and a love that defied every rule of the brutal frontier, hit that subscribe button. Stay with me until the end to see how a blizzard, a poker game, and one cowboy's conscience changed 2 lives forever. And comment below what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels across America. Now, let's begin. The Silver Spur Saloon stank of wet wool, tobacco spit, and desperation. Clara Bennett stood in the corner by the potbelly stove, her fingers working a torn apron hem she'd been mending for the 3rd time this month. The fabric was thin as hope. Outside the frost-coated windows, snow fell in sheets, burying Elkridge, Wyoming territory deeper into its November grave. She'd come here against her better judgment. Her father had sent word through Tommy, the stable boy. Meet me at the Spur. Important. Silas Bennett's version of important usually meant drunk broke, or both. Clara had walked 4 blocks through the blizzard in boots held together with wire and prayer. The laundry where she worked had closed early. The snow was too heavy, the clients too few. The saloon door banged open. Wind screamed in carrying ice and a man. Clara looked up. 6'2", broad shoulders dusted white with snow, a face carved from granite and exhaustion weathered deep around eyes the color of winter sky. He moved with the careful economy of someone who'd learned violence young and never quite shook it. His coat was good quality. His boots weren't town-bought. Everything about him said rancher. Behind him, an older black man followed. Shorter, grizzled, with iron-gray hair and the kind of steady gaze that missed nothing. His hand rested near his hip. Not threatening, just aware. Coffee, the tall man said to the barkeep. His voice was gravel and prairie wind. 2 cups, and information about feed prices come spring. Nate Cooper. The barkeep's tone shifted to something like respect. Didn't expect you in town during weather like this. Needed supplies before the pass closes. The man, Cooper, knocked snow from his hat. How long's this storm supposed to last? 3 days, maybe 4. You're stuck here unless you want to freeze to death getting home. Cooper's jaw tightened. Clara saw frustration flicker across his face, quickly suppressed. A man with responsibilities waiting. A man whose plans just got wrecked by nature. The older black man touched Cooper's arm. Told you we should have come yesterday, boss. You were right, Joe. As usual. Cooper managed a tired smile. Let's get that coffee and figure out. All in. The shout came from the back poker table. Every head in the saloon turned. Clara's stomach dropped. She knew that voice. Silas Bennett lurched to his feet, swaying. His shirt was stained. His eyes were wild with drink and something worse. Desperation. The kind that made men do unforgivable things. I said all in! Silas slammed his fist on the table. Cards jumped. Coins scattered. Across from him sat Victor Hastings. Clara had seen Hastings around town. Cattle baron from Texas. Rich as Solomon and twice as cruel. He owned half of Carbon County and wanted the other half. Men called him Sir. Women avoided him. The rumors about his 3 previous wives, all dead before their 30th birthdays, followed him like smoke. Hastings leaned back in his chair, perfectly calm. Silas, you're drunk. You got nothing left to bet. Go home. I got something. Silas's voice cracked. I got a contract. No. Clara's lips formed the word, but no sound came. What kind of contract? Hastings' interest sharpened. Indenture, 7 years. Already drawn up legal. Silas fumbled in his coat, pulled out a folded paper. His hands shook so bad he nearly dropped it. Girl's 20 years old, healthy, good worker, worth $1,500 easy. The saloon went quiet. Clara couldn't breathe. The stove's heat pressed against her back, but she'd never been colder. Silas? The barkeep's voice held warning. Don't do this. 7 years. Silas continued louder now, desperate to be heard. She'll work off my debt. Cook clean whatever's needed. All legal. All proper. Hastings picked up the paper. Read it slowly. His smile spread like poison. Well now. He looked directly at Clara for the first time. His gaze crawled over her like insects. That is interesting. Where is this girl? Right there. Silas pointed. Every eye in the saloon found Clara. She wanted to run, wanted to disappear into the storm and never come back. But her legs wouldn't move. Couldn't move. This was happening. Actually happening. Come here, girl, Hastings said, not asking, commanding. Clara's feet stayed planted. Clara, Silas's voice turned pleading. Come here, now. No. The word came out steady, stronger than she felt. I'm not part of your poker game. You're my daughter. You do what I say. I'm a person, not property you can trade for. Silas crossed the distance between them in 3 stumbling steps. His hand cracked across her face. The slap echoed. Clara's head snapped sideways. Copper flooded her mouth. The room spun. You ungrateful, Silas grabbed her arm, fingers digging bruises. I fed you, housed you. 20 years I've dealt with your mouth and your judgment. Time you paid your debt. He dragged her toward the poker table. Clara's boots scraped against floorboards. Men stepped aside. Nobody helped. Nobody even looked directly at her. This was the world. This was how it worked. Women were currency when men needed them to be. Hastings stood, adjusted his silk vest, reached for Clara's chin. Don't touch me. Clara jerked back. Feisty. Hastings's smile widened. I like that. Takes longer to break, but the result's more satisfying. She ain't for breaking. Silas said quickly, nervous now. She's a good worker, obedient. Just needs a firm hand is all. Oh, I'll provide a very firm hand. Hastings' meaning was unmistakable. So, you're betting this 7-year contract against your current debt to me. That's $1,200 you owe. I win, I get the contract. You win, debt's cleared. That the wager? That's it. Relief flooded Silas's face. Exactly that. Then we have an agreement. No! Clara's voice rose. She twisted against her father's grip. You can't do this. I won't. Another slap. Harder this time. Clara tasted blood. Sit. Down. Shut. Up. Silas shoved her into a chair near the wall. This is men's business. Clara's vision blurred with tears she refused to shed. Not here. Not in front of these vultures. The poker game resumed. She watched her father's hands shake as he picked up his cards. Watched Hastings's cold calculation. Watched money and dignity get traded back and forth while snow piled against the windows and the stove burned, and her entire future hung on 5 pieces of painted cardboard. 3 hands later, Silas laid down his cards with a victorious whoop. Full house, kings over 10s, I win. Hastings studied the cards. Then slowly he smiled. He laid his own cards down one by one. 4 queens. The color drained from Silas's face. No, wait, I can... You can leave. Hastings stood. The contract's mine. He looked at Clara. She's mine. That's when the stranger moved. Cooper had been standing near the bar, coffee forgotten in his hand. Clara had felt his eyes on the game on her, but she'd been too focused on survival to pay attention. Now he stepped forward. I'll buy that contract. Every head turned. Hastings' eyes narrowed. Excuse me? The contract. I'll buy it. $1,500. Cash money. Right now. Cooper's voice was calm, absolute. Name your price if $1,500 ain't enough. The contract's not for sale, Hastings said. I want it fair. And I'm offering you profit. 1,500's more than Silas owed. You walk away ahead. I don't need money. Hastings moved closer to Clara. Possessive. I need workers. Good ones are hard to find. You got 24 hands on your ranch already. You don't need her. Maybe I want her anyway. The air in the saloon changed, got heavier. Men shifted away from the growing confrontation. Joe, the older black man, appeared at Cooper's elbow. Boss, he said quietly. You know who this is. Don't care who he is. Victor Hastings. 3 wives dead. No proof, but everybody knows. You buy that contract, you make an enemy. Cooper never took his eyes off Hastings. Some enemies are worth making. Hastings laughed, cold as the blizzard outside. You're Nathan Cooper. Own Copper Creek Ranch. Good operation. Heard you're smart. His gaze raked over Clara. This doesn't look smart. This looks like throwing money away on used goods. Clara flinched. Used goods. Because she'd worked in a saloon laundry. Because she was poor. Because she existed in the wrong place at the wrong time. Last chance, Cooper said. 1,500. No deal. Hastings signaled his men. 2 thick-shouldered ranch hands moved toward Clara. Let's go, girl. We got a long ride back to my place. You'll want to say goodbye to this town. You won't be seeing it again. Clara stood. Her legs shook but held. I won't go with you. You'll go, or I'll drag you. Hastings's voice dropped to something soft and terrible. Your choice. Walk to the wagon or get carried. Either way, you're leaving. One of the ranch hands grabbed Clara's arm. Cooper's hand shot out, caught the man's wrist. Let go of her. You want trouble, Cooper? The ranch hand's other hand dropped to his gun. Because we can provide plenty. The saloon erupted. Men scrambled for cover. Chairs scraped. The barkeep ducked behind his counter. Joe already had his pistol drawn, covering Cooper's back. Clara stood in the center of it all, watching her life splinter into violence over a piece of paper and men's pride. Stop! The sheriff pushed through the door, snow tumbling after him. Marshal Vance Hutchins was 65, weathered as old leather with a badge he'd worn for 30 years. He looked at the drawn guns, the tense bodies, and shook his head. What in hell's going on here? Legal dispute, Marshal, Hastings said smoothly. Reasonable. I won this girl's contract fair in a poker game. Mr. Cooper here's interfering with legal commerce. Hutchins looked at Silas. That true? You bet your daughter's indenture. Silas couldn't meet anyone's eyes. Yes, sir. It's legal. Got the papers and everything. Show me. Hastings handed over the contract. The marshal read it slowly. His face hardened. This is legal, he said finally. Witnessed. Notarized. He looked at Clara. You sign this? No. Clara's voice shook with fury. I didn't even know it existed until tonight. Doesn't matter. Your father's your legal guardian until you're 21. He can sign on your behalf. Hutchins' expression said he hated every word. Contract's binding. Marshal, Cooper said, I'm offering to buy it. Hastings won't sell. That's his right. Can't force a man to sell his property. She ain't property, Joe growled. By law, this contract makes her indentured. That's close enough. Hutchins holstered his gun. Hastings, you won the contract. It's yours. Cooper, stand down. This ain't your fight. You're really going to let him take her? Cooper's voice was quiet. Dangerous. You know what he is. What he does. I know rumors. I don't know facts. The marshal wouldn't meet Cooper's eyes. Until I got evidence, my hands are tied. Your hands are tied by his money, Joe said flatly. Hutchins's jaw tightened, but he didn't deny it. Clara watched hope die in the marshal's face, in Cooper's rigid stance, in the way men looked away rather than witness what came next. This was the world. Hastings smiled. Come along, Clara. We're wasting time. His man reached for her again. Clara moved without thinking. grabbed a whiskey bottle from the nearest table, smashed it against the man's head. Glass exploded. The man went down, blood streaming. "I said don't touch me!" The saloon went silent. Clara stood there, breathing hard, broken bottle in her hand, blood on her dress, and something feral in her eyes. Something that had finally broken through 20 years of trying to be good, be quiet, be small enough not to provoke her father's fists or the world's cruelty. "Well?" Hastings's voice was silk over iron. "Looks like breaking you's going to be fun after all." He moved fast, caught Clara's wrist, twisted. The bottle fell. Pain shot up her arm. Cooper moved faster. 1 second Hastings held Clara. The next, he was on the floor, blood pouring from his nose, and Cooper stood over him with murder in his winter sky eyes. "You don't touch her," Cooper said. Each word distinct. Final. Ever. Hastings's men drew their guns. Joe already had his aimed. First man shoots, I drop him. Second man Cooper drops. Third man probably gets us, but that's still 2 of you dead. Your choice. Mexican standoff. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The marshal stepped between them. "Enough. Cooper, you just assaulted a man. I should arrest you." "Then arrest me, but you're not giving her to him." "I don't got a choice." "Everyone's got a choice, Marshal. Question is whether you're brave enough to make the right one." Hutchins looked at Clara, really looked at her, saw the bruises blooming on her face, the blood on her lip, the terror and defiance wearing in her eyes. Something in him shifted. "Hastings," the marshal said slowly. "Cooper's offering 1,500. That's good money. More than the debt was worth. Maybe you should take it. Maybe you should do your job." Hastings snarled, pushing to his feet. His nose was already swelling. "The law says the contract's mine. Enforce the law, or I'll have your badge." "You probably will anyway." Hutchins looked tired, ancient. "But at least I'll sleep tonight." He turned to Cooper. "You got 1,500 on you." "I got a banknote. Good as cash." "Then write a bill of sale. Transfer the contract. Make it legal so this bastard can't come back later claiming theft." "Marshal, you can't..." Hastings started. "I can, and I am. You won the contract fair. Now you're selling it fair. Any objection?" The unspoken threat hung heavy. Hastings could push this, could have the marshal fired, could bring lawyers and money and power to bear. But right now, in this moment, he was outgunned and bleeding in front of witnesses. "Fine." Hastings spat blood. 1,500. "But Cooper..." He stepped close, voice dropping so only Cooper and Clara could hear. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life. I don't forget. I don't forgive. And I always collect what's mine. Always." "She was never yours," Cooper said. "And she never will be." 10 minutes later, papers were signed. Money changed hands. The contract transferring Clara's 7 years of indenture from Silas to Hastings to Nathan Cooper was official. Legal. Binding. Clara stood in the corner watching men decide her future with ink and intimidation and felt nothing. Numbness had replaced terror. Shock had replaced fight. She'd smashed a bottle over a man's head. Her father had sold her. A stranger had bought her. And outside the blizzard buried the world in white silence. "Clara." Cooper's voice, gentle, careful, like approaching a spooked horse. She looked up. He stood a respectful distance away. Didn't crowd her. Didn't touch. His eyes held something she couldn't name. Regret. Determination. "Both." "We need to go," he said. "Storm's getting worse. My ranch is 8 miles. We might make it if we leave now." "I'm not going anywhere with you." Clara's voice sounded distant in her own ears. "I don't know you." "I know. But you got 2 choices right now. Come with me to a warm ranch with food and a locked door you control. Or stay here and hope Hastings doesn't change his mind and come back with more men." Clara looked at the saloon, at her father hunched over the bar, drinking away his guilt with money Hastings had paid him. Blood money. At the marshal who'd done what he could but not enough. At the men who'd watched her get traded and said nothing. She looked at Hastings being tended by his men, his eyes promising revenge. Then she looked at Cooper. At Joe beside him, steady as stone. At the way neither man had tried to touch her without permission. At the $1,500 Cooper had paid for something she should never have been for sale. "Why?" she asked. "Why did you do it?" Cooper was quiet for a long moment. "Because I got a daughter," he said finally. "She's 9. And I keep thinking, what if someday when I'm gone she ends up in a situation like this? I'd want to believe somebody'd help her. Somebody'd see her as a person, not property, so maybe by helping you I'm paying forward. Maybe I'm just trying to sleep at night. I don't know." He met her eyes. "But you deserve better than what was happening here. And I had the means to provide it. That's all." Clara searched his face for lies, for hidden cruelty, for the trap she knew had to exist because men didn't do things like this without expecting payment. She found exhaustion, sincerity, and something like sorrow. 7 years, she said. The contract's for 7 years. The contract's for 7 years, Cooper agreed. "But here's what's going to happen. You're going to work at my ranch. You'll have your own room with a lock on the inside. You'll eat the same food we eat. You'll be treated with respect. And if at any point you want to leave, you tell me and we tear up the contract. No questions asked. You're free to go." Just like that. Just like that. "Why should I believe you?" "Because I'm giving you the choice right now. You can walk out that door and disappear into the storm. Take your chances. Or you can come with me and see if I'm telling the truth. Either way, it's your decision. Not mine. Not your father's. Not Hastings. Yours." Clara looked at the door. At the swirling white beyond. At the unknown that waited in the dark. Then she looked at Cooper's outstretched hand. After 20 years of having no choices, of being told what to do and where to go and who to be, someone was offering her a decision. Maybe it was a trap. Maybe it was a lie. But maybe, just maybe, it was a chance. Clara took his hand. "All right," she whispered. "I'll come with you." Cooper's hand was warm, calloused, steady. He didn't squeeze, didn't pull, just held on while she found her footing. "Joe, get the horses," Cooper said. "We're heading home. In this weather, boss will freeze. Then we better ride fast." They bundled Clara in spare coats, wrapped her hands in wool, put her on a horse between them where the wind couldn't reach, and they rode out into the blizzard, leaving the saloon and Silas and Hastings behind. Clara looked back once. Her father never raised his head from his drink. The last she saw of Elkridge was snow covering everything in merciful white erasing tracks, burying sins, making the world clean. But Clara knew the truth. Sin didn't wash away that easy. And Victor Hastings wasn't the type of man who forgot. 8 miles through hell. That's what the ride was. Wind screaming, snow blinding, cold that turned breath to ice and made fingers go numb inside gloves. Clara had never been so cold in her life. Not in the laundry with its frozen water buckets. Not in the shack she shared with Silas when the wood ran out. Not ever. Cooper rode ahead, breaking trail, Joe behind, watching their backs, and Clara in the middle, clinging to the saddle horn, trying not to fall, as her horse plunged through drifts that came up to its chest. She couldn't feel her feet. Couldn't feel her face. The world narrowed to the next breath, the next moment, the next step the horse took through the endless white. Just when she thought she couldn't hold on anymore, Cooper's voice cut through the wind. There ahead. Buildings emerged from the snow. Barn, stables, bunkhouse, and a 2-story ranch house with warm light glowing in the windows. Home. Cooper's home. And for the next 7 years, or until she ran Clara's home too. They stumbled into the barn. The sudden absence of wind felt like a blessing. Clara slid off her horse and her legs collapsed. She hit the straw-covered floor hard. "I got her." Joe scooped her up like she weighed nothing. "Boss, tend the horses. I'll get her inside to warmth." "Wait," Clara found her voice. "I can walk. Not on them frozen feet you can't." "Don't fight me on this, miss. You're half froze and we ain't got time for pride. He carried her across the yard through snow that came to his knees. Kicked open the ranch house door. Heat hit Clara like a wall. A large kitchen. Cast iron stove burning hot. Lanterns lit. Warm wood and the smell of something baking. Everything was clean. Orderly. Lived in but cared for. A girl appeared in the doorway. 9 years old. Dark curls in braids. Wearing a nightgown and wool socks. Eyes the exact same winter sky blue as Cooper's. She took one look at Clara, frozen bleeding being carried by Joe, and her face went white. "Joe. What happened? Who's that? Ruby, get blankets, quick now, and heat water for tea." Joe set Clara in a chair near the stove. Started unlacing her frozen boots. "Where's your pa?" "Tending horses." Ruby hadn't moved. Stared at Clara with something between fear and fascination. "Is she dead?" "Not yet, but she will be if we don't warm her up. Go on, girl. Blankets?" Ruby ran. Joe got Clara's boots off, her stockings. Her feet were white, bloodless. He cursed under his breath. "This ain't good. Miss Clara, can you hear me?" Clara nodded. Couldn't speak. Her jaw was locked with shivering. "Your feet got frostbite. Not bad yet, but getting there. We need to warm you slow. Too fast and the pain'll be worse. You understand?" Another nod. Ruby came back with an armload of quilts. Joe wrapped Clara like she was precious cargo. Tucked the blankets around her shaking body. Put a cup of hot tea in her hands. Her fingers were too stiff to hold it, so he held it for her, tilting it to her lips. The tea burned going down. Clara didn't care. Warmth. Blessed warmth. "Pa's coming," Ruby announced, still keeping her distance. "And he ain't happy. Says we're snowed in for 3 days at least." She looked at Clara suspiciously. "Who are you? Why'd my pa bring you here?" "Ruby." Joe's voice held warning. "Mind your manners." "But—" The door opened. Cooper came in covered in snow, leading it in his hair and beard. He looked at Clara by the stove, at Joe's worried face, at Ruby's confusion. "She all right?" "Will be. Feet are borderline frostbite. Need to watch for infection." Joe stood. "Boss, what were you thinking riding in that storm? You both could have died." "Didn't have a choice." "There's always a choice." "Not this time." Cooper pulled off his coat, hung it on a peg, moved to the stove to warm his hands. He didn't look at Clara directly, gave her space. "Ruby, this is Clara Bennett. She's going to be staying with us for a while. Clara, this is my daughter Ruby. And you already met Joe. He's my foreman and the man who actually runs this place." "I just keep you from doing stupid things," Joe said. "Don't always succeed apparently." Ruby stepped closer, cautious. "Pa, why she got blood on her face?" "Because some men are bastards." Cooper's voice was flat. "And because the world ain't fair. Now get her some clean clothes. One of Sarah's old dresses should fit." Ruby's face closed down. "Mama's clothes?" "Yes." "You're giving a stranger Mama's clothes?" "Ruby." "No." The girl's voice rose. "You can't. Those are Mama's. You said we'd keep them. You promised. And we will keep them. But Clara needs something clean to wear, and your mama would want her clothes being used, not sitting in a trunk gathering dust." "You don't know what Mama would want. Mama's dead." Ruby's eyes filled with tears. "And you brought some woman home, and now she's going to wear Mama's dress, and sleep in Mama's house, and that's enough." Cooper's voice turned stern. "I know you're scared. I know this is sudden. But Clara needs help, and we're going to provide it. That's what we do in this family. We help people. Your mama taught me that. She'd be ashamed hearing you talk like this." Ruby's face crumpled. She turned and ran up the stairs. A door slammed. Silence filled the kitchen. "She'll come around," Joe said quietly. "Girl's been through a lot. Lost her mama. Now you bring home a woman same age Sarah was when she died. That's hard for a child." "I know." Cooper looked tired. Ancient. "But I couldn't leave her there." "Didn't say you should have. Just saying this is going to be complicated." "Everything's complicated." Cooper finally looked at Clara. "You doing okay?" Clara found her voice. It came out rough. "Why did you tell her 7 years? I thought you said I could leave any time." "You can. The 7 years is what the contract says. What anyone looking at the papers will see. But between us—" He met her eyes. "You stay as long as you want. Leave when you're ready. The legal part's just protection. Make sure Hastings can't claim you back. As far as the law's concerned, I own your contract for 7 years. But in this house, you're free. You just can't tell anyone that. Not yet. Not till we figure out what Hastings is planning." "He's planning revenge," Clara said. "He told you that." "I know. Then why did you do it? Why risk your ranch, your daughter, everything for a stranger?" Cooper was quiet for a long time. The stove crackled. Wind howled outside. Ruby's crying drifted down from upstairs, muffled and broken. "My wife died 5 years ago," Cooper said finally. "Childbirth, second baby. We lost them both." His voice went rough. "For a long time after I was angry. At God. At the world. At myself for not being able to save them. I got hard. Mean. Forgot how to be decent." He looked at his hands. "Then one day, Ruby asked me what Mama would think of the man I'd become. And I didn't have an answer. Because Sarah would have been ashamed." He raised his eyes to Clara's. "So I'm trying. Trying to be the kind of man she married. The kind of father Ruby deserves. The kind of person who sees wrong and does something about it instead of looking away." He paused. "Tonight in that saloon I had a choice. Look away and stay safe. Or step up and risk everything. And I thought about what Sarah would do. What I'd want someone to do for Ruby if she was in your position. So I stepped up. Maybe it was stupid. Maybe it'll cost me everything. But at least when I die, I'll know I tried to leave the world a little less cruel than I found it." Tears burned Clara's eyes. She didn't let them fall. Hadn't cried in the saloon. Wouldn't cry now. But God, she wanted to. 20 years of being worthless. Being a burden. Being told she should be grateful for scraps and cruelty. And here was a man who'd risked his life, his money, his daughter's safety for a stranger because it was the right thing to do. "Thank you," Clara whispered. "For buying the contract. For bringing me here. For—" Her voice broke. "For seeing me as a person. You are a person. Never forget that. Whatever happens, however this ends, you're a person with worth and dignity and rights. Hastings can't take that. Your father couldn't sell it. And I won't let anyone make you believe different." Joe cleared his throat. "Boss, I'm going to check on Ruby. Miss Clara, there's a room down the hall. First door on the right. Used to be Sarah's sewing room. Got a bed and a stove. I'll bring you clean clothes and water for washing. You rest. Tomorrow we'll figure out the details." He left. Clara and Cooper sat in the kitchen, separated by 5 feet and 100 unspoken things. Outside the blizzard raged. Inside something fragile and new began to take root. "I don't trust Easy," Clara said. "I don't trust men at all, really." "Good. Smart." Cooper stood, moved to the door, paused. "But Clara, I'm going to prove you can trust me. Might take time. Might take the full 7 years. But I'll prove it. That's a promise." He left her there by the stove, wrapped in blankets, thawing in more ways than one. And for the first time in years, Clara let herself hope. Maybe this time the promise wouldn't break. Maybe this time she'd found something worth believing in. Maybe. Clara woke to silence. Not the silence of peace, but the thick, muffled quiet that came after a blizzard buried the world. She lay in the narrow bed staring at ceiling beams she didn't recognize wrapped in quilts that smelled like lavender and cedar. For one confused moment, she thought she was still in the shack with Silas. Then memory crashed back. The saloon. The poker game. Hastings's smile. Cooper's hand. She sat up too fast. Pain lanced through her feet. Joe hadn't been lying about the frostbite. Her toes were swollen, angry red, throbbing with every heartbeat. Morning light filtered through a small window. The storm had passed. Outside, everything was white and pristine and deceptively beautiful. Clara pushed back the quilts. Someone had left clothes folded on the chair. A simple gray dress, wool stockings, undergarments. Everything clean and mended with careful stitches. Sarah's clothes. Cooper's dead wife's clothes. Clara touched the dress fabric. Good quality. Worn soft with use, but not threadbare. A woman had lived in this dress, laughed in it, held her daughter, died leaving it behind, and now Clara was supposed to wear it. Guilt twisted her stomach, but she had no choice. Her own dress was ruined, blood-stained, torn. Even if she wanted to leave, and part of her did desperately, she couldn't walk 8 miles through snow in rags. She dressed slowly, careful of her damaged feet. The dress fit well enough, a little loose in the waist, a little long in the hem, but warm, whole. Clara caught her reflection in the small mirror above the wash basin. The woman staring back was a stranger, bruised face, split lip, hollow eyes, but clean, fed, alive. She'd survived the night. That was something. A soft knock on the door made her jump. "Miss Clara," Joe's voice. "You decent." "Yes." He came in carrying a tray, coffee, toast, eggs. More food than Clara usually saw in 2 days. "Boss said let you rest, but figured you'd be hungry." Joe set the tray on the small table. "How are them feet?" "Painful." "Good. Pain means they're healing. No pain means frostbite 1, and we'd be talking about losing toes." He pulled a tin from his pocket. "This is salve, comfrey and yarrow. Put it on twice daily. Keep them feet wrapped and warm. Don't try walking too much for a few days." Clara took the tin. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. You ain't seen what's waiting in that kitchen." Joe's expression turned wry. "Ruby's in a state, been crying all night, won't eat, won't talk to her pa, just sits there staring at your door like you're the devil come to steal her life." "Maybe I should leave." "And go where storm dropped 3 feet. Nearest town's 8 miles. You wouldn't make it a quarter mile in your condition." Joe's voice gentled. "Look, I know this is hard. You didn't ask for any of it, but you're here now. And that little girl out there, she's hurting. Lost her mama young, got only her pa and me. Now suddenly there's a woman in the house wearing her mama's dress. That's terrifying for a child. I didn't want to wear it. I know, but Ruby don't see that. She just sees replacement." Joe moved toward the door. "Give her time. She's a good kid underneath the scared. Just needs to learn you ain't here to erase her mama's memory." He left. Clara sat with her breakfast appetite gone. She'd survived her father's fists, survived near slavery in the laundry, survived a blizzard. But she didn't know if she could survive a 9-year-old's grief. Still hiding wouldn't help. She ate mechanically, drank the coffee. Then, leaning on the wall for support, she made her way to the kitchen. Ruby sat at the table still in her nightgown, hair unbrushed, face swollen from crying. She looked up when Clara entered, and her expression hardened into something too old for 9 years. "You're wearing Mama's dress." Clara stopped. "Your father said—" "I know what Pa said. Don't make it right." "Ruby." Cooper stood at the stove cooking something that smelled like bacon and onions. "We talked about this." "No, you talked. I listened. Difference." Ruby's eyes never left Clara. "How long you staying?" "I don't know. Pa says 7 years. That's what the contract says. So you're stuck here, with us, in Mama's house, wearing Mama's clothes, for 7 years. The accusation hung heavy. Clara wanted to explain. Wanted to say she'd leave tomorrow if she could. Wanted to apologize for existing. But she'd spent 20 years apologizing for existing. She was done. "Yes," Clara said. "I'm stuck here. But you're stuck with me too. So we can make each other miserable for 7 years, or we can try to get along. Your choice." Ruby's eyes widened. Clearly she'd expected apologies. Pleading, not honesty. "I don't want to get along with you." "Fair enough. Then we'll stay out of each other's way." "This is my house. And now it's mine too. For 7 years, like you said." Clara moved to the table, sat down across from Ruby. Her feet screamed protest, but she ignored it. I didn't ask for this, didn't want it. But here we are. So if you want to hate me, hate me. I can't stop you. But I'm not going to spend 7 years walking on eggshells around a child who won't even try to see past her own pain. Ruby's face flushed red. You don't know anything about my pain. You're right, I don't. Just like you don't know anything about mine. Girls! Cooper's voice cut through the tension. That's enough. She started it, Ruby said, and I'm ending it. Cooper brought plates to the table, set them down with more force than necessary. Ruby Clara's been through hell. Show some compassion. Clara Ruby's 9 and she lost her mama. Cut her some slack. He sat down heavily. Now we're going to eat breakfast like civilized people, and after we're going to discuss how this household's going to work. Clear? Neither woman spoke. I said clear? Yes, sir, Clara murmured. Fine, Ruby muttered. They ate in brittle silence. The food was good. Simple, but well made. Clara tried not to notice how Ruby wouldn't pass her the salt without Joe's prompting. Tried not to feel the weight of Cooper's concerned glances. After breakfast, Joe took Ruby to tend the horses. Cooper poured more coffee and sat back down. I'm sorry about Ruby. Don't apologize for her grief, Clara said. I understand it. Understanding don't make it easier to live with. Cooper wrapped his hands around his cup. She's scared. Change terrifies her. After Sarah died, Ruby had nightmares for months. Wouldn't let me out of her sight. Afraid if I left, I'd disappear too. He stared into the black coffee. Took 2 years before she'd sleep through the night. And now I've brought a woman home. In her mind, I'm replacing Sarah. She's terrified of losing her mama all over again. Are you replacing her? Cooper's head snapped up. What? Your wife. Are you replacing her with me? No. God, no. He looked horrified. Clara, I bought your contract to save you from Hastings. That's all. I'm not looking for... He stopped, fumbled for words. Sarah was my wife. I loved her. Still love her. You're not a replacement. You're not anything except someone who needed help. The words should have been reassuring. Instead, they left Clara feeling hollow. You're not anything. She knew he hadn't meant it that way. But after being nothing to her father, nothing to the men in the saloon, nothing to everyone who'd looked away, being told she was nothing again, even kindly meant cut deep. Right, Clara said. Well, since I'm nothing, where do you want me to work? What are my duties? Cooper winced. That came out wrong. Did it? Yes, you're not nothing. You're... He stopped, started again. You're a person, someone under my protection, and your duties are whatever you're comfortable with. Joe usually handles cooking and cleaning, but if you want to help, he'd probably appreciate it. There's mending gardening come spring, tending chickens, normal ranch work, nothing you can't handle. And if I don't want to handle any of it? Cooper's eyes narrowed. Testing me? Yes. Why? Because every man who's ever been kind has wanted something. So what do you want Mr. Cooper really want? The question stretched between them. Outside, Ruby's laughter drifted through the window, a child's sound untainted by the complexity poisoning the kitchen. I want peace, Cooper said finally. I want my daughter to stop having nightmares. I want to run this ranch without worrying about Hastings burning it down. I want to believe the world can still have some good in it, despite all the evidence to the contrary. He met Clara's eyes. And I want you to feel safe. That's what I want. No hidden price. No expectations beyond basic decency. Just safety. Clara searched his face for lies, found only exhaustion and sincerity. I'll help Joe with cooking, she said. And mending. When my feet heal, I'll take on more. But I'm not good with children. Your daughter hates me. I can't fix that. You don't have to fix it. Just exist. Give her time to learn you're not a threat. And if she never learns, then we deal with it. Cooper stood. You need anything. More salve. Different clothes. I need to not be here, but since that's not possible... Clara shook her head. No, I don't need anything. Clara. She looked up. It's going to get better. I know it don't feel like it now, but it will. You can't promise that. Watch me. He left. Clara sat alone in the kitchen, surrounded by someone else's life, wearing someone else's clothes, trapped in a situation she couldn't escape. Outside, the snow gleamed white and pure. Inside, everything was complicated. The days blurred together. Clara's feet healed slowly. Joe's salve helped, but time was the real medicine. She spent the first week hobbling between her room and the kitchen, helping where she could. Chopping vegetables, stirring pots, folding clean laundry. Small tasks that made her feel less useless. Ruby avoided her religiously. The girl would enter a room, see Clara, and immediately leave. If forced to be in the same space, she'd sit as far away as possible, radiating hostility like heat from a stove. Cooper worked from dawn to dark. Ranch business didn't stop for snow. Animals needed feeding. Fences needed checking. Ice needed breaking in water troughs. He'd come in for meals exhausted, try to mediate between Clara and Ruby, fail, and retreat to his study to manage accounts. Joe held everything together. He cooked, cleaned, refereed arguments, and somehow made them all function as something resembling a household. But tension simmered beneath every interaction. 10 days after the blizzard, Clara was in the kitchen darning socks when Ruby burst through the door. "Where's Pa?" Clara didn't look up. Checking the north pasture. "When's he coming back?" Didn't say. Ruby stood there vibrating with some suppressed emotion. "Finally, I need help." Clara's hand stilled on the darning needle. "With what?" "One of the barn cats got in the grain room. Now she won't come out, and Joe says if we don't get her, she'll eat till she's sick." Ruby's voice was tight. "I can't reach her. Joe's bad knee won't let him crawl under the shelves, and Pa's gone. So you came to me. Ain't got no choice." Clara set down the sock, stood. Her feet still ached, but she could walk now without limping. "Show me." They crossed the yard in frigid silence. The barn was warmer than outside, but still cold enough to see breath. Ruby led Clara to the grain room, pointed under a low shelf. Sure enough, a calico cat crouched in the shadows, belly distended from gorging on oats. Her eyes glowed green in the dim light. She hissed when Ruby approached. "Can you get her?" Ruby asked. Clara knelt, ignored the protest from her healing feet. "Here, kitty. Come on now." The cat hissed again. "She don't like strangers," Ruby said. "Then you get her." "I told you I can't reach." "Try harder." Ruby's face flushed. "If I could get her myself, I wouldn't have asked you." "Then I guess we're stuck." Clara sat back on her heels. "Unless you want to ask nicely." "I did ask." "No. You told me you had no choice. That's different from asking." Ruby's jaw clenched. For a moment, Clara thought the girl would storm off, let the cat get sick out of pure spite. Instead, something crumbled in her expression. "Please," Ruby whispered. "Please help me get Clementine. She's my favorite, and I don't want her to die." The raw fear in those words cut through Clara's annoyance. This wasn't about pride or territory. This was a child who'd already lost too much, terrified of losing something else. "All right," Clara said gently. "Step back. Give me room." She lay flat on the cold floor and wiggled under the shelf. Splinters caught her dress. Dust filled her nose. But she inched forward until her hand closed around warm fur. Clementine yowled protest. "I know, baby. I know." Clara pulled the cat carefully toward her. "But you're going to make yourself sick." She emerged with the cat clutched to her chest. Clementine was heavy, swollen with stolen grain, but purring despite her earlier protest. Ruby's face transformed. "You got her. Told you I would. Thank you." The words came out reluctant, but genuine. "I mean it. Thank you." Clara handed over the cat. Ruby buried her face in Clementine's fur, and for a moment she was just a little girl, grateful for a small kindness. "Ruby." The girl looked up. "I'm not here to replace your mama," Clara said quietly. "I couldn't even if I wanted to. Nobody can replace someone you love. But I'm also not your enemy. I'm just someone trying to survive. Same as you." Ruby's eyes filled. Mama used to rescue Clementine all the time. She'd get into the grain, and Mama would crawl under there and get her, and laugh about how silly that cat was. A tear spilled over. "I miss her so much." "I know. Do you really?" "My mama died when I was 12, Clara said. "Tuberculosis. I watched her cough herself to death over 6 months. And after my father became someone I didn't recognize. Someone cruel. So yes, I know what it's like to lose the person who made you feel safe." Ruby wiped her eyes on Clementine's fur. "Did you ever stop missing her?" "No, but the missing gets different. Less sharp. More like an ache you learn to carry." "I don't want to carry it. I want her back." "I know, honey, but that's not how it works." They stood in the cold barn, two females bound by loss, separated by age and circumstance, but understanding each other for the first time. "I'm sorry I've been mean," Ruby said finally. "I'm sorry I'm here making everything harder." "You ain't." Ruby stopped, struggled with honesty. "Okay, maybe you are, but it ain't your fault." Pa explained what happened. About the poker game and Hastings and everything. That was terrible. I'm sorry that happened to you. "Thank you. But it don't mean I'm ready to be friends." "I know. Maybe someday, though." "Maybe." Ruby nodded, carried Clementine toward the door. Paused, looked back. "That dress looks nice on you. Mama would have liked that. She never wanted her things sitting in a trunk. Said they were meant to be used." Ruby's voice dropped. "So it's okay. You wearing it. Mama would say it's okay." Then she was gone, leaving Clara alone in the dim barn with tears burning her eyes. It wasn't forgiveness, wasn't friendship, but it was a start. That night at dinner, Ruby passed Clara the potatoes without being asked. Cooper noticed. His eyes met Clara's across the table. Something warm flickered there. Approval, maybe. Or relief. Joe just smiled into his coffee. Small progress, but in a house full of grief and strangers learning to coexist, small progress felt like victory. 2 weeks became 3. 3 became 4. The snow began to melt. The ranch emerged from winter's grip slowly, reluctantly. Clara settled into routine. Morning cooking with Joe, afternoon mending. Evening lessons with Ruby turned out the girl needed help with reading. Clara wasn't a teacher, but she knew letters, knew words, could sit patiently while Ruby stumbled through primers. Cooper watched these lessons with something like wonder in his eyes. He never said anything, just stood in doorways, observing then disappearing to his endless work. Clara tried not to notice him, tried not to see how his hair curled when wet from snow, how his hands, scarred from ranch work, moved with surprising gentleness when checking a horse's hoof or stroking his daughter's hair, how his rare smiles transformed his weathered face into something almost boyish. Tried, failed. Because Nathan Cooper was nothing like the men Clara had known. He didn't shout, didn't hit, didn't expect servitude beyond fair work. He asked her opinion on things, thanked her for tasks, treated her like a person with thoughts and feelings. It was terrifying. 5 weeks after the blizzard, Clara was hanging laundry when hoofbeats approached. She looked up to see a rider coming fast, snow flying from his horse's hooves. The man pulled up in the yard. Young, maybe 25, wearing a deputy's badge. "Mrs. Bennett." Clara's stomach clenched. "Miss Bennett." "Right. Sorry. You're needed in town. Sheriff's got questions about what happened the night of the storm. Questions about what everything was legal." "Just questions, ma'am. Sheriff wants to make sure all the paperwork's proper, given who was involved." The deputy's expression said he knew exactly who was involved. Hastings. Cooper emerged from the barn. "She's not going anywhere without me." "Actually, sir, the sheriff requested she come alone." "Then the sheriff's going to be disappointed." Cooper's voice went hard. "Clara's under my protection. Anywhere she goes, I go. That's not negotiable." The deputy shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, I don't want trouble." "Then don't bring it. We'll come to town tomorrow when I can spare the time. Clara's not riding 8 miles in melting snow to answer questions that could be asked right here." The sheriff can wait. Cooper crossed his arms. "Now, unless you got a warrant, I suggest you head back and tell Sheriff Hutchins we'll be there when we're ready." The deputy hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, sir. I'll pass along the message." He rode off. Clara let out a breath she'd been holding. Hastings put him up to this. "I know. He's not going to stop." "I know that too." Cooper turned to her. "But he's not getting to you, not without going through me first. You can't fight him forever. He's got money, influence, the law on his side. The law ain't on anyone's side but whoever's got the deepest pockets." Cooper's jaw set. "But I ain't giving you back. Contract says 7 years. Far as the law's concerned, you're mine. And I protect what's mine." The words sent heat through Clara's chest. Not because of the possessiveness, though, that should have bothered her, but because of the conviction. Cooper meant it. Would fight for her. Die for her, if it came to that. Nobody had ever been willing to die for Clara before. "Why?" The question burst out before she could stop it. "Why do you care this much? I'm nothing to you. A stranger you paid for. Why risk everything?" Cooper looked at her for a long moment. Snow melted around them. The sun broke through clouds, and in that cold, bright light, something shifted in his expression. "You're not nothing," he said quietly. "You haven't been nothing since the moment I saw Hastings smile at you like you were meat. Since I saw your father hit you, and you didn't cry. Since you smashed that bottle and fought back. You're not nothing, Clara. You're someone worth protecting. And maybe I can't explain it better than that. Maybe I don't want to. But that's the truth." He walked away before Clara could respond. She stood there, wet laundry forgotten in her hands, heart pounding. Worth protecting. Worth fighting for. Worth something. The words wrapped around her wounded places like bandages. Like hope. That night, Clara couldn't sleep. She lay in the narrow bed staring at shadows on the ceiling, replaying Cooper's words. "You're someone worth protecting." Around midnight, she heard footsteps in the hall. Then voices. Ruby crying. Clara got up, cracked her door open. Cooper sat on the floor outside Ruby's room, his daughter curled in his lap. Ruby was sobbing. Something about nightmares. About her mama. About being scared. "Shh, baby girl. I'm here. I'm right here." Cooper's voice was rough with sleep and emotion. He rocked her slowly. "I ain't going nowhere. I promise." "But what if you do? What if you leave like Mama did?" "I won't." "You can't promise that. Nobody can." "You're right. I can't promise I won't die, but I can promise I ain't leaving you on purpose. Ever. You're stuck with me, Ruby girl, whether you want to be or not." Ruby sniffled. "I'm sorry I've been mean to Clara." "She knows you don't mean it." "I do mean it sometimes, but not always." Ruby pulled back to look at her father. "Pa, do you like her?" The pause stretched too long. "She's a good person," Cooper said finally. "That ain't what I asked." "Ruby, you look at her funny. Different from how you look at other people. And you smile more when she's around. And Joe says, Joe needs to mind his business. Joe says you ain't smiled this much since Mama died. Says Clara's good for you." Ruby's voice went small. "Is she going to be my new mama?" Another long pause. Clara held her breath. "I don't know what Clara's going to be," Cooper said honestly. "Right now she's someone who needs help. Someone I'm trying to protect. Beyond that," he sighed. "Beyond that, I don't let myself think. It ain't fair to her, ain't fair to you, and it ain't fair to your mama's memory. Mama would want you to be happy. Mama would want me to do right by you first. Everything else comes second. But what if Clara could make us both happy? What if she's supposed to be here? Then I guess time will tell. Cooper kissed Ruby's forehead. Now go back to sleep. Tomorrow's a big day. We're going to town. To see the sheriff. To face whatever Hastings is planning, together, as a family. Ruby hugged him tight. Clara too. Clara too. They went back into Ruby's room. The door closed. Clara stood in her own doorway, heart racing. Cooper looked at her funny. Smiled more when she was around. Ruby had noticed. Joe had noticed. Clara had noticed too. Had felt the weight of his gaze when he thought she wasn't looking. Had caught herself watching him work, admiring the strength in his shoulders, the gentleness in his hands. But she couldn't afford to notice. Couldn't afford to feel anything beyond gratitude. Because feelings led to hope, and hope led to heartbreak, and Clara had been broken enough. She went back to bed. Didn't sleep. Just lay there thinking about a rancher who protected strangers, and a little girl who was learning not to hate her, and a future that terrified her more than anything Victor Hastings could do. Because Hastings could only destroy her body. But hoping for something real with Nathan Cooper, that could destroy her soul. Morning came too soon. They rode to Elkridge in tense silence. Cooper, Clara, and Joe. Ruby stayed with a neighboring ranch family, safer that way. Whatever Hastings planned, it wouldn't involve witnesses who could get hurt. The town looked the same. Same dusty streets, same false front buildings, same saloon where Clara's life had shattered 6 weeks ago. But everything felt different now. The sheriff's office was small, cramped. Sheriff Hutchins sat behind his desk looking older than Clara remembered. Beside him stood a man in an expensive suit, lawyer written all over him, and in the corner, arms crossed, smile cold as death, stood Victor Hastings. Clara's breath caught. Cooper's hand found the small of her back, steady, grounding. Easy. Sheriff, Cooper said, you wanted to see us. Mr. Cooper, Miss Bennett. Hutchins gestured to chairs. Please, sit. I'll stand, Cooper said. What's this about? The lawyer stepped forward. Mr. Cooper, my name is Horace Blackwell. I represent Mr. Hastings in this matter. We have concerns about the contract transfer that occurred 6 weeks ago. Concerns about what? Everything was legal. You were there, Sheriff. You witnessed it. I did. Hutchins looked uncomfortable. But Mr. Hastings is claiming the transfer was made under duress, that you threatened him, forced him to sell when he didn't want to. That's a lie, Clara said. Is it? Hastings spoke for the first time. His nose had healed crooked from where Cooper broke it. It gave him a lopsided, cruel appearance. You assaulted me, Cooper, in front of witnesses, then forced me to sell a legal contract I'd won fairly. I offered to buy. You agreed. That's commerce, not duress. You broke my nose. After you grabbed Clara against her will. That's assault. I was defending her. She wasn't yours to defend. Not then. The contract was mine. The words hung ugly in the air. Blackwell cleared his throat. Gentlemen, let's keep this civil. Mr. Hastings is willing to resolve this matter peacefully. He'll pay you back the $1,500 plus interest. In return, you transfer the contract back to him. Everyone walks away satisfied. No, Cooper said flatly. Mr. Cooper, be reasonable. I said no. The contract's not for sale. Not to Hastings. Not to anyone. Hastings pushed off the wall. Moved closer. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Funny. I was thinking the same about you. Sheriff? Hastings turned to Hutchins. Are you going to enforce the law or not? What law? Joe spoke up. Contract was transferred legal. Papers are filed. What's to enforce? The law that says contracts made under duress are void. Then prove duress, Cooper said. Show evidence I forced you. Show witnesses who'll say you didn't agree freely. Go ahead. I'll wait. Hastings's smile turned razor sharp. You're right. I can't prove duress. But I can make your life hell in other ways. I can file complaints with the territorial court. Tie you up in legal fees you can't afford. Spread rumors about why you really bought that contract. Make people think you're keeping a woman for purposes beyond work. His gaze slid to Clara. Small towns love that kind of gossip. Destroys reputations fast. Is that a threat? Cooper's voice went deadly quiet. It's a fact. I'm offering you an out. Take the money. Give me the girl. Walk away. Her name is Clara, and she's not a girl. She's a woman, a person. And for the last damn time, she's not for sale. Everything's for sale, Cooper. You just haven't heard the right price. There is no right price. Hastings studied him. Then understanding dawned in his eyes. His smile widened. Oh, I see. You've developed feelings for her, haven't you? That's what this is really about. This is about property rights and legal contracts, Cooper said. But his jaw tightened. No, this is about a lonely widower getting attached to a pretty face he rescued. Hastings laughed. Does she know? Does she know you didn't buy her out of charity, but because you wanted her for yourself? That's not true, Clara said, but doubt crept in. Was it, isn't it? Think about it, Clara. Rich rancher, beautiful young woman, convenient contract that binds her to him for 7 years. Tell me that's not exactly the situation I was offering, just dressed up in noble intentions. The difference, Cooper said, each word bitten off, is that I'm giving her a choice. Every day. Stay or go. Her decision. You would have locked her up and thrown away the key. So you say. But she's still trapped, isn't she? Still dependent on your goodwill. Still wearing your dead wife's clothes and living in your house and owing you everything? How is that freedom? Clara felt the room tilt. Because Hastings was right. She was trapped. Maybe in a prettier cage than what he would have provided, but still trapped. And now Cooper's motivations were suspect, and her carefully constructed trust was crumbling, and she couldn't breathe. Clara. Cooper reached for her. She flinched away. Don't. Hurt flashed across his face. It's not like he's saying. I swear to God it's not. How would I know? How would I know what's true, when everyone lies? Her voice rose. You said I was free. Said I could leave any time. But could I really? Where would I go? What would I do? I've got no money, no family, nowhere to run. So maybe Hastings is right. Maybe you just traded one cage for another and dressed it up pretty so I wouldn't notice. Clara, please. Don't. She backed toward the door. Just don't. She ran. Out of the office. Into the street. Down an alley where no one could see her fall apart. She sank against a wall, shaking. Not crying. Past tears. Just shaking with the realization that she'd been a fool. Had let herself hope. Had almost let herself trust. But men didn't save women out of goodness. They saved them because they wanted something. Always. Footsteps approached. Clara looked up, expecting Cooper. Instead, Victor Hastings stood there. Alone. Don't scream, he said pleasantly. I'm not going to hurt you. Just want to talk. Clara's hand found a loose board against the wall, gripped it like a weapon. Get away from me. I'm offering you freedom, Clara. Real freedom. Come with me now. I'll tear up the indenture contract. You walk away with money in your pocket. No obligations. No 7 years of servitude. Just your life back. I don't believe you. Smart girl. You shouldn't. Hastings crouched down to her level. Here's the truth. I don't want you. I wanted to win. Wanted to prove I always get what I'm owed. But you've become more trouble than you're worth. He pulled an envelope from his coat. $500. And a signed release from the contract. Take it. Disappear. Start over somewhere Cooper won't find you. Clara stared at the envelope. At freedom. At escape. Why? Because Cooper's in love with you. Probably doesn't even know it yet, but he is. And watching him lose you will hurt more than killing him. This is revenge, Clara. Slow and perfect. I take what he cares about, and I don't even have to pull a trigger. You're evil. I'm practical. Hastings held out the envelope. Take it, or don't. Stay with Cooper and spend 7 years wondering if he bought you because he's noble or because he wanted a replacement for his dead wife. Wonder every day if you're free or just a well-treated slave. That's its own kind of hell. Clara looked at the envelope, at her escape, at the chance to be truly free. Then she thought about Ruby's tentative smiles, Joe's gruff kindness, the way Cooper looked at her like she mattered, the way she'd started looking back. "No," she said. Hastings's smile faded. "What?" "I said no. Keep your money. Keep your revenge. I'm not leaving." "You're a fool." "Maybe. But I'm a fool who makes my own choices, and I choose to stay." Clara stood on shaking legs. "Now get away from me before I scream." For a moment, she thought Hastings would grab her, force her. But footsteps sounded at the alley entrance. Cooper appeared, then Joe, then Sheriff Hutchins, hand on his gun. "Step away from her," Cooper said. His voice was terrifyingly calm. Hastings stood slowly. "Just talking." "In an alley. Alone. After she ran from your lies." Cooper moved between them, protective. "You come near her again, Hastings. You even look at her wrong. And I don't care about consequences. I will end you. Am I clear?" Hastings's smile returned. "Crystal. But Cooper, this ain't over. Not by a long shot." "No, it's not. But Clara made her choice. She's staying. So whatever you're planning next, know I'll be ready." Hastings tipped his hat, walked past them, paused at the alley entrance. "7 years is a long time, Miss Bennett. Lot can happen. Accidents, fires. A ranch is a dangerous place." He looked at Cooper. "Especially for people you care about." Then he was gone. The threat hung in the air like smoke. Sheriff Hutchins shook his head. "Can't arrest him for talking, but I'll keep an eye on him. You folks watch yourselves." He left too. Clara stood there, still gripping the board, staring at where Hastings had been. "Clara," Cooper's voice was soft, careful. "I need you to listen to me. I don't want to hear excuses. It's not an excuse, it's the truth." He moved into her line of sight. Didn't touch, just stood there, hands loose at his sides. "I didn't buy your contract because I wanted you for myself. I bought it because it was the right thing to do. That's God's honest truth." Hastings said, "Hastings is a liar who'd say anything to hurt us both." Cooper's jaw tightened. But he wasn't completely wrong. About one thing. Clara's heart stuttered. "What?" "I have developed feelings for you. Didn't mean to, didn't want to. But somewhere between that first night and now, you stopped being a stranger I was protecting and became—" He stopped, struggled for words. "Someone I care about, someone I look forward to seeing, someone who makes this house feel like a home again." "Cooper, but that don't change nothing about your freedom. You want to leave, you can. Right now. Today. I'll give you money for travel. A horse. Whatever you need. The contract means nothing if you don't want to be here." Clara's throat tightened. "You mean that?" "Every word. Even though Hastings would win, even though he'd take it as proof you can't protect me. Even though—" Cooper's eyes held hers. "Your freedom's more important than my pride. Always will be." Clara looked at this man, this impossible, complicated, honest man who'd bought her freedom and was now offering to let it go. "I'm staying," she said. Relief flooded Cooper's face. "You sure?" "No, I'm not sure of anything. But Hastings offered me money to leave. $500 and a contract release. And I said no." Clara dropped the board. Her hands shook. "So I guess I'm either the biggest fool alive, or—" She couldn't finish. "Or what?" "Or maybe I've developed feelings too," Clara whispered. "And maybe that terrifies me more than Hastings ever could." The air between them charged. Electric. Dangerous. Cooper took one step forward, then stopped. "Clara, I can't. I won't, not while you're under contract, not while there's any question of obligation." "Then tear up the contract." "If I do that, you've got no legal protection. Hastings could claim you back." "Then we're stuck." "Yeah, we're stuck." Cooper's hands flexed like he wanted to reach for her but wouldn't let himself. But we got time. 7 years. Maybe before then we figure this out. Find a way to make it right. And if we don't, then we don't. But at least we tried. Joe appeared at the alley entrance. Hate to interrupt, but we should head back. Ruby's probably worried sick. They rode home in silence. But it was different from the morning's tension. This silence hummed with unspoken things, with feelings acknowledged but unclaimed, with a future uncertain but possibly worth fighting for. That night, Clara lay in bed thinking about choices, about freedom that wasn't free, about feelings that shouldn't exist but did anyway, and about a rancher who'd bought her salvation and accidentally stolen her heart. Outside, snow began to fall again, light, gentle, covering the world in fresh possibility. Clara closed her eyes. 7 years suddenly didn't seem long enough. Spring came hard to Wyoming territory. The snow didn't melt so much as retreat grudgingly, leaving mud thick as sin and cold that sank into bones despite the longer days. Clara had been at Copper Creek Ranch for 3 months now. 3 months of careful distance. 3 months of unspoken feelings hanging between her and Cooper like laundry nobody wanted to take down. Ruby had softened completely. The girl followed Clara around now, chattering about everything and nothing, teaching her about ranch life, showing her where the best blackberries grew come summer, sharing secrets about her mama that made Clara's chest ache. Joe watched it all with knowing eyes and said nothing, just kept cooking, kept the household running, kept everyone from combusting under the weight of what nobody would say. And Cooper worked himself half to death. Up before dawn. In bed, long after everyone else. He was building something in the far pasture. Wouldn't say what. Just disappeared for hours with lumber and nails and came back exhausted. Clara caught herself watching for him, listening for his footsteps, finding excuses to be in rooms he might enter. It was pathetic. She knew it, couldn't stop it. "You're staring again," Joe said one afternoon. They were in the kitchen preparing supper. Through the window, Cooper worked in the corral breaking a new horse. "I'm not staring." "Child, I got eyes. You've been staring at that man for weeks now, and he been staring back when you ain't looking. Whole situation's painful to watch." Clara's hand stilled on the bread dough. "It can't happen, Joe. The contract's a piece of paper. What's between you two that's real, and ignoring real don't make it go away." "What am I supposed to do? Throw myself at him? He's made it clear nothing can happen while I'm under obligation." "So stop being under obligation. Tear up the contract. Make your own choice." Hastings is 8 miles away licking his wounds. And even if he tried something, you think Cooper would let him get within a mile of you. Joe shaped biscuits with practiced hands. "You're scared. I get it. Been hurt before. Don't want to be hurt again. But Clara, that man out there, he's scared too. Lost his wife. Nearly lost himself. Now he's got feelings he don't know what to do with, and a moral code that won't let him act on them. So y'all just circling each other like nervous horses, and it's the saddest damn thing I ever seen. What if it goes wrong? What if I stay, and we try and it doesn't work, and then I'm trapped with someone who resents me? What if it goes right?" Joe's voice gentled. "What if you find something worth all the risk?" Clara looked out the window. Cooper had the horse calmed now, was stroking its neck, talking to it soft. The same gentle patience he showed Ruby. The same careful kindness he showed Clara. "I don't know how to do this," she whispered. "Don't know how to let myself want something." "Then learn. Because wanting things, fighting for them, that's what makes us human. And you've been surviving so long you forgot how to live." Before Clara could respond, Ruby burst through the door. Clara, come quick. There's a wagon coming, and it's got fancy wheels, and Joe, it looks like town folk and—" Ruby's eyes went wide. "Oh no, what if it's that Hastings man?" Cooper appeared behind her, breathing hard. "It's not Hastings, it's worse." "Worse than Hastings?" Clara's stomach dropped. "Territorial judge, and he's got the sheriff with him." They gathered in the yard as the wagon pulled up. Judge Morrison was 70 if he was a day with white mutton chops and the stern expression of a man who'd seen every kind of human wickedness. Sheriff Hutchins sat beside him looking apologetic. "Mr. Cooper," the judge said, not bothering with pleasantries. "Miss Bennett, I'm here on official business." "What kind of business?" Cooper moved to stand between Clara and the wagon. Protective instinct taking over. The kind that involves complaints filed with the territorial court. Mr. Victor Hastings has petitioned to have Miss Bennett's indenture contract reviewed. Claims irregularities in the transfer. Claims possible coercion and improper conduct. The judge's eyes found Clara. "I need to speak with Miss Bennett, alone." "No." Cooper's voice went hard. "Anything you need to say, you can say in front of me." "Mr. Cooper, I'm trying to be reasonable here. But if you obstruct a territorial investigation, I can have you arrested. Is that what you want?" "I want Clara protected. That's what I want. And I'm here to ensure she is protected. From everyone. Including you." The judge climbed down from the wagon with difficulty. His joints were clearly paining him. "Now, Miss Bennett, may we speak in private?" Clara looked at Cooper, saw the fear in his eyes, the helplessness. Then she looked at the judge and made a decision. "All right, we can talk in the house." "Clara," Cooper started. "It's fine. I'll be fine." She didn't feel fine, felt terrified. But she walked toward the house anyway, the judge following. They sat in the parlor. The judge refused tea, just pulled out papers and a pencil and fixed Clara with a penetrating stare. "Miss Bennett, I need you to answer honestly. Has Nathan Cooper mistreated you in any way?" "No." "Has he forced you to work beyond reasonable hours?" "No." "Has he made unwanted advances, touched you inappropriately, indicated that your contract obligates you to anything beyond household labor?" "No, never. He's been nothing but respectful." The judge made notes. "Yet you remain under an indenture contract. 7 years. That's a long time for a young woman." "It was my father's debt. Cooper paid it. This is the arrangement." "An arrangement you agreed to?" Clara hesitated. "I didn't have much choice. It was Cooper or Hastings. And Hastings—" She stopped, swallowed. "Hastings would have killed me. Eventually. Everyone knows it. His other wives didn't die from accidents. Those are unproven rumors. They're truth and you know it. Just because nobody can prove it, don't make it less real." The judge's expression softened slightly. "I'm not your enemy, Miss Bennett. I'm here to ensure you're not being exploited. Indenture contracts, they're legal. But they can be abused. So I need to know, do you feel safe here?" Clara thought about Ruby's laughter, Joe's gruff care, the way Cooper looked at her like she hung the moon, the life she'd built from nothing. "Yes, I feel safe." "And if I offered to void the contract right now, give you freedom to leave, would you take it?" The question hit like a fist, because it was everything Clara thought she wanted. Freedom, no obligations, the ability to walk away. But walking away meant leaving Ruby, leaving Joe, leaving Cooper, leaving home. "No," Clara said quietly. "I wouldn't take it." "Why not?" "Because this is where I want to be. Not because a contract says I have to, but because I choose it." The judge studied her for a long moment. "You're certain?" "Because once I file my report, it's official. The contract stands. You're bound for 7 years unless Cooper releases you." "I'm certain." Even knowing Mr. Cooper has developed personal feelings for you, Sheriff Hutchins mentioned there was speculation about the nature of your relationship. Heat flooded Clara's face. "What happens between Cooper and me is our business. Not Hastings's, not yours. If there's impropriety, there's not. Cooper won't even touch my hand without permission, won't be alone in a room with me if he can help it. He's so damn noble, it's painful." Clara stood. "You want to know the truth, Judge? Yes, there's feelings, on both sides. But nothing's happened. Nothing will happen as long as this contract exists. Because Cooper's got honor even when it's inconvenient, even when it hurts. So if Hastings is trying to make this into something dirty, he's lying. Like he lies about everything. The judge was quiet. Then he smiled slightly. You care about him. That's none of your concern. No. But it tells me what I needed to know. He stood gathering his papers. Miss Bennett, my recommendation will be that the contract stands as written. You're clearly here of your own will. Mr. Cooper's treatment of you appears exemplary. And whatever Victor Hastings is claiming, it's motivated by spite, not genuine concern for your welfare. Relief nearly buckled Clara's knees. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Hastings won't stop. Men like him, they don't accept losing. You should prepare for that. We are prepared. I hope so. The judge moved toward the door, paused. Word of advice, Miss Bennett, life's short, especially out here. If you've found something worth holding on to, hold tight. Don't let fear or propriety or legal complications rob you of happiness. I've seen too many people die with regrets. Don't be one of them. He left. Clara stood in the empty parlor shaking. They'd won. For now. The contract was safe, but the judge's words echoed. Don't let fear rob you of happiness. Outside voices raised. Clara moved to the window. Cooper was arguing with the judge. You can't just leave. What about protection? What if Hastings tries something? Then you defend your property, Mr. Cooper. Same as any rancher would. I can't station deputies here indefinitely based on threats. So we're on our own. You've always been on your own. That's the frontier. The judge climbed back into the wagon. But for what it's worth, I believe Miss Bennett is safer here than anywhere else. You've proven that. They drove off. Cooper stood in the yard, fists clenched, staring after them. Ruby approached cautiously. Pa, is Clara going to be okay? Yeah, baby girl, she's going to be fine. But his voice said he didn't believe it. Clara pushed open the door, stepped outside. Cooper. He turned, saw her. Something in his expression cracked. I thought they were taking you. I thought... He couldn't finish. They're not taking me. The judge approved the contract. Everything stands. For now. For now, Clara agreed. But Hastings isn't going to stop. I know. So what do we do? Cooper looked at her. Really looked at her. And Clara saw something shift in his face. A decision being made. We prepare. And we trust each other. That's all we can do. That night the household was quiet. Ruby went to bed early, exhausted from stress. Joe retreated to his cottage, and Clara found herself alone in the kitchen, unable to sleep. She was pouring coffee when footsteps sounded behind her. Cooper stood in the doorway, hair damp from washing, shirt unbuttoned at the collar. He looked tired, worried, human. Thought you'd be asleep, he said. Can't. Too much in my head. Yeah, me too. He moved into the kitchen, kept distance between them, always keeping distance. Clara, I need to tell you something, and I need you to let me finish before you respond. Dread curled in Clara's stomach. All right. When I bought your contract, it was to save you, pure and simple. No ulterior motives, no hidden agenda, just doing what felt right. He poured his own coffee, stared into it like it held answers. But somewhere along the way that changed. You changed it. Or maybe I did. I don't know. But what started as protection became something else. Something I didn't plan for, and don't know what to do with. Clara's heart hammered. Cooper. Let me finish. His knuckles were white around the cup. I'm falling in love with you, Clara. Maybe already have fallen. And I know that's wrong. Know it complicates everything. Know I should keep my mouth shut and my feelings locked down. But after today, after thinking I might lose you, I realize something. Life's too short for silence. Too short for noble suffering. So I'm telling you, I have feelings. Deep feelings. Feelings that terrify me because I swore after Sarah died, I'd never let myself care that much again. He finally looked at her. But I do care. And I'm done pretending I don't. Clara set down her coffee before she dropped it. You're done pretending. Yeah. After 3 months of carefully avoiding me, of treating me like I'm made of glass, of refusing to even accidentally brush hands, now you're done pretending. I know the timing's terrible. The timing's perfect, you idiot. Clara closed the distance between them, stood close enough to feel his heat. Because I'm falling too, have been falling, and I'm tired of pretending it's not happening. Cooper's breath caught. Clara, we can't the contract. Damn the contract. I don't care about the contract. I care about you, about Ruby, about this life we're building. She put her hand on his chest, felt his heart racing under her palm. The judge was right. Life's too short, and I'm done wasting time being scared. You should be scared. I'm a widower with a child and a ranch and enemies. I've got nothing to offer but hard work and danger and a future that's uncertain at best. That's more than I've ever had. More than I ever hoped for. Clara's voice broke. Cooper, I was dead before you found me. Just existing. Going through motions. And now I'm alive. I'm happy. I matter. Because of you. Because of this place. So yes, it's complicated. Yes, there's danger. But I'd rather have complicated and dangerous with you than safe and empty anywhere else. Cooper's control shattered. His hand came up to cup her face, thumb tracing her cheekbone with devastating gentleness. If we do this, there's no going back. You understand. If we cross this line, you're mine, and I'm yours, and nothing short of death is separating us. I understand. Clara, kiss me, Cooper, please, before I lose my nerve, before something else goes wrong. Just kiss me. He did. It wasn't like kisses in dime novels. Wasn't perfect or practiced. It was desperate and clumsy and tasted like coffee and fear and hope all mixed together. Cooper's hand tangled in her hair. Clara's fists gripped his shirt. They kissed like people drowning, like people who'd found air after being underwater too long. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Cooper rested his forehead against hers. I don't deserve you. You saved me. I'd say we're even. Saved each other, maybe. He kissed her again, softer this time, sweeter. But Clara, this don't change the contract, not legally. We can be together, but carefully. Hastings gets wind of this, he'll use it against us. Claim impropriety. Claim I took advantage. Let him claim it. I'll tell anyone who asks, this was my choice. Still, we're careful. Private. At least until we figure out what Hastings is planning. How long? I don't know, but however long it takes, I'll wait. We'll wait, together. Clara nodded against his chest. Together. They stood there holding each other in the quiet kitchen, while outside the spring night sang with new beginnings. The next morning brought trouble on horseback. Clara was hanging laundry when she heard riders, multiple horses, moving fast. Cooper emerged from the barn hand already on his gun. Joe appeared from the equipment shed. Ruby stayed on the porch like she'd been taught, away from danger. 5 men rode into the yard, Hastings's men. Clara recognized 3 from the saloon. The other 2 were strangers, hard-faced, dangerous. They weren't here for conversation. Mr. Cooper, the lead rider said, we're here to deliver a message from Mr. Hastings. I ain't interested in his messages. You'll be interested in this one. The man smiled, cold, mean. Seems your northern fence got cut last night. 30 head of cattle wandered off. Be a shame if more went missing. You threatening me? Just delivering facts. Facts like fires start easy in dry seasons. Like accidents happen on ranches all the time. Like people get hurt when they're not careful. Cooper's jaw tightened. Tell Hastings if he wants to fight, come himself. Stop sending hired guns to make threats. Oh, he'll come. When he's ready. But first he wanted you to know he can reach you anytime, anywhere. And there's nothing you can do to stop him. The man turned his horse, started to leave, then paused. One more thing. Pretty lady you got there. His eyes found Clara. Be a real shame if something happened to her. Real shame. Cooper moved faster than Clara had ever seen. Grabbed the man's leg, yanked him off his horse. The man hit the ground hard. Cooper was on him instantly, gun pressed to his temple. Listen close. You threaten my family again, you don't ride away. You get buried. Am I clear? The other 4 riders drew weapons. Joe's gun was already aimed. Mexican standoff. Boss. Joe's voice was calm, steady. Think about Ruby. That penetrated Cooper's rage. He looked toward the porch, saw his daughter white-faced and terrified. He released the man, stepped back. Get off my property, all of you, and tell Hastings I'm done playing. He wants war, he's got it. But he better be ready for the consequences. The men rode off laughing, like this was entertainment, like people's lives were games. Clara ran to Cooper. He was shaking, not with fear, with fury. He's not going to stop, Cooper said. Not until one of us is dead. Then we make sure it's him, Joe said quietly. But we're smart about it. No more losing our tempers. That's what he wants. Wants you emotional, making mistakes. Joe's right. Clara touched Cooper's arm, felt the tension thrumming through him. We stay calm, stay together, and we watch for whatever he's planning. I should take you somewhere safe, you and Ruby. Get you away from here. Running ain't the answer, boss, Joe said. Hastings would just follow, and then you'd be fighting him on unfamiliar ground. At least here we know the territory. Know who we can trust. I can't lose her, Joe. I can't. Cooper's voice cracked. I just found her. I can't lose her. You won't. We protect our own. Always have. This ain't different. But it was different. Because now Hastings knew Cooper had a weakness. Knew that Clara mattered. And men like Hastings exploited weaknesses until everything shattered. 3 days later, the barn burned. Not the big barn. The small equipment barn on the east side. It went up at midnight, flames visible for miles. They saved most of the tools, but the structure was a loss. No one had to say it was Hastings. Everyone knew. 2 days after that, someone shot at Cooper while he was riding fence. Bullet missed by inches. Could have been a hunter's mistake. Could have been deliberate warning. The ranch hands started sleeping with guns. Joe and Cooper took shifts watching the house at night, and Clara learned to keep a rifle within reach. Ruby stopped sleeping through the night. Started having nightmares again. Crying for her mama. Begging Clara not to leave. I'm not leaving, baby, Clara would whisper, holding the girl. I promise. That's what Mama said. And then she died. I'm not dying. You can't promise that. And Ruby was right. None of them could promise anything. 2 weeks of siege. 2 weeks of mounting tension. 2 weeks of Hastings picking away at their defenses. Then one morning it stopped. No threats, no fires, no shots. Just silence. It was worse than the attacks. Because silence meant planning. Meant something big was coming. Cooper called a meeting in the kitchen. Him, Clara, Joe, and 3 of his most trusted ranch hands. We can't keep living like this, Cooper said. Can't keep waiting for the next attack. We need to go on offense. What do you suggest? Joe asked. Ride to his ranch and start shooting? That's murder. I suggest we find proof of what he's done. The wives who died. The ranch hands who've disappeared after crossing him. The bribes, all of it. And we take it to the territorial marshal, get him arrested proper. And if we can't find proof, then we make him come to us, on our terms, our ground. Cooper's eyes were hard. I'm done being prey. Time to remind Victor Hastings that cornered animals bite back. Clara listened to them plan. Listened to talk of ambushes and evidence and legal strategies. And she realized something that made her blood run cold. This wasn't ending peacefully. No matter what they tried, no matter how careful they were, this was ending in blood. The only question was whose. That night, Clara found Cooper in the barn. He was working on something, a wooden structure she didn't recognize. What is that? He startled, turned, saw her. Project I've been working on, for Ruby. Clara moved closer, realized it was a swing, elaborately carved with flowers and vines. Beautiful. Sarah used to push Ruby on a swing, Cooper said quietly. In the old place before we moved here. Ruby talked about it all the time after Sarah died. how Mama would push her so high she could touch the sky. So I thought—" His voice roughened. "I thought maybe if I built her a new one, she'd have that piece of her mama back." Clara's eyes burned. "It's beautiful." "It's half finished. Keep getting interrupted by Hastings's garbage. Keep thinking I'll never get to complete it. Keep thinking—" He stopped. Set down his tools. "I'm scared, Clara. For the first time since Sarah died, I'm genuinely terrified. Because I got so much to lose now. Got Ruby, got you, got a reason to keep living, and Hastings knows it. Knows exactly where to hit to make it hurt worst." Clara crossed to him, took his hands. They were rough with work, scarred with old injuries. Real, solid. "We're not dying. None of us. We're surviving this. Together." "You can't know that." "No. But I can fight for it. And so can you. And so can Joe and Ruby and everyone on this ranch. Hastings is one man. We're a family. That matters." Cooper pulled her close, held her tight. "When this is over, when Hastings is gone and we're safe, I'm going to marry you. Proper. In front of everyone. Contract or no contract. I'm making you mine legally. I'm already yours. Then I'm making it official." He kissed her, hard, desperate, like sealing a promise. "You're going to be Ruby's mama, my wife, and we're going to have a life together. A real life, I swear it." "I know. I love you, Clara Bennett." The words hit like lightning. First time he'd said them plain. First time without hesitation. "I love you too," Clara whispered. "God help me, I love you too." They stood there holding each other in the dim barn, making promises neither knew if they could keep. But they made them anyway, because hope was all they had left. And sometimes, in the darkest times, hope was enough. The silence lasted 5 days. 5 days of false peace that set everyone's nerves jangling. Clara found herself checking windows constantly. Cooper barely slept. Joe started carrying 2 guns instead of 1. Even Ruby sensed something coming, clinging to Clara like a burr. On the 6th day, a rider came. Not Hastings, not his men. A boy, maybe 14. Wearing clothes too thin for spring cold and riding a borrowed horse. He handed Cooper an envelope and left before anyone could question him. Cooper opened it right there in the yard. "Read it." His face went white. "What?" Clara moved closer. "What does it say?" Cooper's hand shook. He passed her the letter. The handwriting was elegant, educated. Every word precisely chosen for maximum damage. "Cooper, you've caused me considerable inconvenience. Cost me money. Cost me pride. I'm a reasonable man, so I'm offering you one final chance to resolve this peacefully. Meet me at the old Parsons homestead. Tomorrow at noon. Come alone. We'll settle our differences like civilized men. If you don't come, I'll burn your ranch to ash with everyone inside. Your choice. Bring the law and people die. Bring your men and people die. Come alone, and maybe we can reach an understanding. You have 24 hours. Hastings." Clara's blood went cold. "It's a trap." "Of course it's a trap." Cooper's voice was flat, dead. "But if I don't go, he'll do exactly what he threatens. I've seen what he's capable of. He'll burn us out and laugh while we burn. Then we all go. Bring every hand. Surround him. And he kills whoever he's got hidden. Because he's got someone, Clara, guaranteed. This is how men like Hastings operate. Always got leverage. Always got insurance." "So what do we do?" Joe had appeared from the barn. "Because you ain't going alone. That's suicide." "Maybe that's what he wants. Maybe he figures if I'm dead, Clara's contract reverts and he can claim her legally. Or maybe he just wants me dead for revenge. Either way, I got no good options." Clara grabbed his arm. "You're not going." "I have to." "No. We find another way. There is no other way." Cooper's composure cracked. "Don't you see? He's got us cornered. I go, maybe I die. But maybe I can reason with him. Offer him something. Get him to leave you alone. If I don't go, he kills everyone I love, and I live with that for however long before guilt finishes me. So tell me, Clara, what choice do I really have? Ruby started crying on the porch. Loud, terrified sobs. Clara wanted to go to her but couldn't move. Couldn't breathe past the fear closing her throat. There's always a choice, Joe said quietly. And the choice here is, we're smarter than him. We plan better. We use his trap against him. How? You go, but not alone. We follow at a distance, hidden. When he makes his move, we're ready. We end this. Permanent. That's murder. That's survival. He comes at us, we got the right to defend ourselves. Law says so. And if he's planning to kill you anyway, then we're just evening the odds. Cooper was quiet for a long time. Then he nodded slowly. All right, we do it your way, but Clara and Ruby stay here, safe. No. Clara found her voice. I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. He's doing this because of me. I'm not hiding while you risk your life. That's exactly what you're doing. You're staying here where it's safe, and that's final. Since when do you give me orders? Since I'm trying to keep you alive. Cooper's voice rose. Damn it, Clara. I can't fight him and worry about you at the same time. Please. Please just stay here with Ruby. Let me do this without... His voice broke. Without being terrified every second that you're going to get hurt. Clara saw the fear in his eyes. The raw terror of a man who'd already lost one woman he loved and couldn't bear losing another. She wanted to argue, wanted to insist. But Ruby's crying got louder, and Cooper's hands were shaking, and Clara realized he was right. Okay, she whispered. Okay, I'll stay. Relief flooded his face. He pulled her into his arms, held her so tight she could barely breathe. Thank you. God, thank you. But Cooper, you better come back. You understand. You made me promises. You better keep them. I will. I swear I will. That night, Cooper sat with Ruby until she cried herself to sleep. Then he spent an hour with Joe and the ranch hands planning, drawing maps, working out positions and signals and contingencies. Clara watched from the doorway, watched him transform from the gentle man who carved swings into something harder, something capable of violence if necessary. It terrified her, but it also made her love him more, because he was doing this for them, for her and Ruby, and the life they'd built. Around midnight, Cooper found Clara in the kitchen. She was making coffee she didn't want, keeping her hands busy so they'd stop shaking. Can't sleep, he asked. Would you? No. He poured himself coffee. Stood close, but didn't touch. Like contact would break whatever fragile control he had. Clara, if something happens tomorrow, don't. I have to. If something happens, there's papers in my desk. Legal papers. The ranch goes to Ruby, but you're listed as her guardian. The contract's voided. You're free. And there's money. Enough to keep this place running, or sell it and start over somewhere else. Whatever you choose. Stop talking like you're dying. I'm talking like a man who might not come home. That's different. Cooper finally looked at her. And I need you to promise me something. If I don't make it, you take Ruby and you run. Don't stay here fighting Hastings. Don't try to be noble. Just run and keep her safe and give her a good life. Can you promise me that? Clara's vision blurred. That's not fair. You can't ask me to. Promise me. Cooper. Clara, please, I need to know she'll be okay. That you both will be okay. That's the only thing that's going to let me ride out there tomorrow and do what needs doing. So please, promise me. Clara wanted to refuse, wanted to rage at him for even suggesting she could just move on. But she saw the desperation in his eyes, the love, the fear. I promise, she whispered. If you don't come back, I'll take Ruby and run. I'll keep her safe. I'll tell her every day how much her father loved her. And you'll live. Really live. Not just survive. You'll find happiness again. Don't ask for that. That's too much. It's not enough. but it's all I can ask." Cooper set down his coffee, finally closed the distance between them, cupped her face in his scarred hands. "I love you, Clara Bennett. In this life and whatever comes after. You changed everything, made me remember what it felt like to be human, to hope, to want more than just getting through each day. So thank you. For all of it. For choosing to stay when you could have run. For loving my daughter. For loving me." Clara kissed him, hard and desperate, and trying to memorize every detail. The taste of coffee on his lips, the roughness of his jaw, the way his hands trembled against her skin despite his attempt at control. When they finally broke apart, both were crying. "Come back to me," Clara said. "Whatever happens out there, you fight like hell and you come back. Because I'm not ready to let you go. I'm not ready to be without you. I'll fight, I promise." They stood there holding each other while the clock ticked toward morning and fate waited with loaded guns. Dawn came too fast. Cooper was dressed and armed before the sun cleared the horizon. He checked his rifle, his pistol, extra ammunition. Moved with the mechanical efficiency of a man preparing for war. Joe and 3 ranch hands were already saddled. They'd ride out first. Get in position around the Parsons homestead. Hidden, waiting. Ruby wouldn't let go of her father, clung to him crying, begging him not to go. "I have to baby girl, but I'm coming back, I promise." "Mama promised too." The words hit like bullets. Cooper's face crumpled. He knelt down, pulled Ruby into his arms. "Your mama didn't choose to leave. She fought to stay. And I'm going to fight too. Fight to come back to you, to Clara, to our family. You believe me?" Ruby nodded against his chest. "I believe you, Papa." "That's my girl." He kissed her forehead, stood, looked at Clara. "Keep her inside, no matter what you hear, no matter what happens. You stay inside until I come back, or Joe does. Understand?" "I understand." "And Clara, I love you. Remember that. Whatever happens, remember, I love you." Then he was gone. Riding out with Joe and the men. Disappearing into the morning mist. Clara pulled Ruby inside, locked the door, checked the rifle Cooper had left, made sure it was loaded. They sat in the kitchen. Waiting. Ruby pressed against Clara's side. Neither spoke. Just listened to the clock tick and their own hearts pound. An hour passed. 2. Noon came and went. Still nothing. Ruby fell asleep finally, exhaustion winning over fear. Clara held her, stroked her hair, prayed to a God she'd stopped believing in years ago. Please, please let him come home. 3 o'clock. 4. Clara's nerves were shredded. Every sound made her jump. Every creak of the house made her reach for the rifle. Then at 4:30 she heard it. Hoofbeats, multiple horses, riding hard. Clara laid Ruby on the sofa, grabbed the rifle, moved to the window. 5 riders. Coming fast. Too far to identify. Please be Cooper. Please be Joe. Please be Hastings. Clara's blood froze. Victor Hastings rode at the lead, his men flanking him. And no sign of Cooper or Joe or anyone else. They'd lost. Somehow Hastings had won. Clara ran to the door, checked the lock. It wouldn't hold long, not against 5 men, but maybe long enough. She woke Ruby. "Baby, we have to hide, right now. Don't argue." Ruby's eyes went wide. "Where's Papa?" "I don't know, but we have to go. There's a root cellar under the pantry. You're going to hide there, and you're not coming out until I tell you. No matter what you hear. Understand? Clara. Ruby. Please, for your papa. For me. Please, just hide." The girl nodded. Clara pulled up the cellar door, helped Ruby down. "Stay quiet. Stay hidden. I love you, baby." "I love you too." Clara closed the door, shoved the rug back over it, grabbed the rifle. The front door exploded inward. Hastings stood there, smiling, blood on his shirt, not his blood. "Hello, Clara." She raised the rifle. "Get out." Now is that any way to greet a guest? Especially after I've ridden all this way to collect what's mine. I'm not yours. I'm never going to be yours. See, that's where you're wrong. Cooper's dead. Ambushed him at the homestead. He rode right into my trap like the noble fool he was. Died quick, though, I'll give him that. Bullet to the heart. Probably didn't even feel it. The words didn't land at first. Couldn't land. Because they couldn't be true. Cooper couldn't be dead. He'd promised. He'd promised he'd come back. You're lying. Am I? Hastings pulled something from his coat, tossed it to the floor. Cooper's hat. Bloodstained. Bullet hole through the crown. Clara's legs gave out. She hit the floor. The rifle clattered away. Everything narrowed to that hat. That impossible, terrible hat. "Where's the girl?" Hastings asked. "The brat. I know she's here." Clara couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't process anything past the blood and the hole and the fact that Cooper was dead. Cooper was dead, and she'd never said enough. Never held him enough. Never. "I said, where's the girl?" Hastings grabbed Clara's hair, yanked her head back. "Tell me, or I start breaking things. Starting with you." Through the grief, through the shock, clarity came. Ruby. He wanted Ruby. And Clara had promised Cooper. Had promised to keep his daughter safe. "She's not here," Clara said. "Sent her to the neighbors this morning." Liar! Hastings's grip tightened. "But that's fine. I'll find her, after I deal with you." He pulled a knife, pressed it to Clara's throat. "You cost me a fortune. Cost me pride. And now you're going to pay for it. Slowly. While I burn this place down around you." Clara closed her eyes, waited for the blade. Then glass shattered. Something heavy hit the floor. Hastings screamed. Clara opened her eyes. Ruby stood there, holding a cast-iron skillet. Hastings was on the ground clutching his head. Blood poured between his fingers. "Don't touch her!" Ruby's voice was shrill, terrified, but she held the skillet ready. "Don't touch my mama!" The words cut through everything. My mama. Clara moved on instinct, grabbed the rifle, pointed it at Hastings. "Get out. Now. Or I swear to God I'll kill you." Hastings staggered to his feet. Blood ran down his face. His smile was gone, replaced by pure hatred. "This isn't over." "Yes, it is." The voice came from the doorway. Cooper stood there, shirt torn, blood on his shoulder, but alive, alive. And behind him Joe, the ranch hands, all armed, all pointed at Hastings. "It's over, Hastings," Cooper said. His voice was death. "You're done." Hastings looked at the guns, at Clara holding the rifle, at Ruby with her skillet, at his men who'd apparently fled or been captured. "You can't prove anything. I'll say it was self-defense. You'll hang." Sheriff Hutchins pushed through the door. Got witnesses who say you bragged about murdering Cooper. Got evidence of the fires, the shootings, everything. And Judge Morrison signed the warrant himself. "Victor Hastings, you're under arrest for attempted murder arson, and about 15 other charges that'll see you hanged." Hastings tried to run. Cooper shot him in the leg. He went down screaming. "That's for threatening my family," Cooper said. "And this..." He punched Hastings, hard, breaking his already crooked nose again. "That's for making them cry." The sheriff cuffed Hastings, hauled him away. His screaming faded into the distance. Silence filled the house. Then Ruby dropped the skillet and ran to her father. "Papa! Papa, you're alive!" "I'm alive, baby girl. I'm okay." Cooper caught her up, held her tight. His eyes found Clara's. "We're all okay." Clara couldn't move, couldn't speak, just stared at him. At the blood, at the tear in his shirt, at the hat on the floor. "The hat," she whispered. "He had your hat. There was blood. I gave it to him. Told him it was the only part of me he'd ever own. He shot it. Thought he'd killed me. But I was wearing Joe's hat. We switched before the meeting. Figured Hastings might try something exactly like that. You let me think you were dead. I'm sorry. We needed him to think he'd won. Needed him to come here, get him away from his ranch, away from his protection. And it worked. He confessed everything to the sheriff's deputy who was hiding in the barn. We got him Clara. It's over. It's over, Clara repeated. Then she started laughing, or crying, maybe both. It's over and you're alive and I thought... She couldn't finish. Just collapsed. All the fear and grief and relief hitting at once. Cooper was there, catching her, holding her. I'm here. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Ruby wrapped her arms around both of them. We're a family now, right? A real family. Forever. Forever, Cooper said. If Clara will have us. Clara pulled back enough to see his face. If I'll have you. You just faked your own death. Let me think I'd lost you. Put me through hell. I know, and I'm sorry. But Clara, shut up and kiss me, you idiot. He did. Deep and thorough, and tasting like blood and relief and promises kept. When they finally broke apart, Ruby was grinning through tears. So, you're going to marry Papa and be my real mama. Clara looked at this child who'd defended her with a skillet, who'd called her mama, who'd been brave when everything was falling apart. Yeah, baby, I'm going to marry your papa. And I already am your real mama. Have been for a while. Just took us both some time to realize it. Ruby squeezed them both tighter. Good, because I love you, and you're not allowed to leave, ever. Not leaving, not ever. That night after the sheriff had gone, and Hastings was locked up, and the adrenaline had faded into exhaustion, they sat together in the kitchen. Cooper's shoulder was bandaged. Joe had cleaned and stitched it. Bullet had gone through clean. He'd heal. Ruby had finally fallen asleep, curled up on the sofa. Exhausted. Safe. I need to tell you something, Cooper said. He pulled out a paper. While we were planning the trap, I wrote this, just in case things went wrong. He handed it to Clara. It was a will, leaving everything to her. The ranch, his money, Ruby, everything. But at the bottom there's something else. Clara read it. Her breath caught. It was a marriage proposal, written formal, legal, with a space for her answer. I was going to give it to you if I died. Let you decide after without pressure, but then I didn't die, and I realized I don't want to wait. Don't want to spend one more day without making this official. Cooper slid off his chair, knelt on the kitchen floor. Clara Bennett, will you marry me? Will you be my wife, Ruby's mama? Will you take on this ranch and this life and this broken man and make us whole? Clara looked at him. This rancher who'd bought her freedom and stolen her heart. This man who'd fought for her, protected her, loved her. Yes, she said. Yes to all of it. But on one condition. Anything. We burn that contract. Right now. I don't want it hanging over us. Don't want any question that I'm here by choice, not obligation, choice. Cooper smiled, pulled the contract from his pocket. He'd been carrying it. Already planned on it. They burned it in the stove, watched 7 years of servitude turn to ash, watched the past die and the future begin. Then Cooper kissed her, slow and sweet and full of promise. When? Clara asked. When do we get married? Tomorrow if you want. Next week. Next month. Whenever you're ready. Tomorrow, Clara decided. Why wait? Why wait? Cooper agreed. Outside, spring rain began to fall. Gentle, cleansing, washing away blood and fear and winter's last grip. Inside, a family held together, scarred, exhausted, but whole. And in the morning, they'd start building the life they'd fought so hard to claim. But tonight, they just held each other and breathed and were grateful. For survival. For love. For second chances. For the impossible grace of finding home in the last place they'd expected. Morning came with birdsong and the smell of coffee. Clara woke in the narrow bed disoriented. Then memory flooded back. Hastings arrested. Cooper alive. The proposal. Everything. She dressed quickly in Sarah's gray dress. No, not Sarah's anymore. Hers. The thought didn't sting like it used to. Sarah would have wanted her clothes worn. Her family loved. Her husband happy again. Clara touched the fabric. "Thank you," she whispered to a woman she'd never met. For raising Ruby right. For loving Cooper enough that he knew how to love again. For leaving behind something worth protecting. In the kitchen, Joe was already cooking. He looked up when Clara entered, smiled. "Morning, Mrs. Cooper," or near enough. "It's still Miss Bennett." "Not for long." Joe cracked eggs into a pan. "Boss is already up. Been up since dawn. Nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs." "Where is he?" "Barn. Finishing that swing for Ruby. Wants it done before the wedding. Says it's important." Clara found him there. The swing was nearly complete. Beautiful carved wood sanded smooth hanging from strong rope. Cooper was testing the knots, making sure everything was safe. "It's perfect," Clara said. He turned, saw her. His face transformed. "You're really going to marry me today? Unless you changed your mind." "Never. Not in a million years." He crossed to her, took her hands. "I got the preacher coming at noon. Judge Morrison, too. He insisted on being witness. Said he doesn't get to see happy endings often, and he's not missing this one. Ruby's wearing her mama's Sunday dress. Joe's making a feast. And I'm terrified." "Of what?" "That I'll mess this up. That I'm not good enough. That you'll wake up one day and realize you could have had better." Clara cupped his face. "Nathan Cooper, you rode into a blizzard to save me. You fought off Hastings. You gave me a home and a daughter and a reason to live. You're more than good enough. You're everything." He kissed her, soft, sweet. Then pulled back. "I got something for you. Wedding gift." He handed her a small box. Clara opened it. Inside was a ring. Simple gold band with tiny wildflowers engraved around it. "It's not fancy. Can't afford fancy right now. But I had the smith in town make it special. Those flowers, they're the same ones Ruby picked for you that first week. The ones you put in a cup on the kitchen table. Figured it'd be a good memory to carry." Clara's vision blurred. "It's perfect. You're perfect. And I love you so much it scares me." "Good. Because I plan on scaring you with how much I love you for the next 50 years. Only 50. Well, I'm 36. 50 years puts me at 86. That seems optimistic for a rancher. Then we'll make every year count." They stood there holding each other in the barn while Ruby's new swing hung waiting, and the future stretched bright and possible before them. At 11:30, people started arriving. The neighboring ranchers came. Families who'd helped during the Hastings siege. Men who'd ridden with Cooper. Women who brought food and flowers and well wishes. Even some townspeople showed up. The blacksmith who'd made the ring. The general store owner. The barkeep from the Silver Spur looking embarrassed but sincere. "Figured I owed you an apology, Miss Bennett. Should have stepped in that night. Should have done something. So I'm here now, hoping you'll forgive an old coward for not being brave when it mattered." Clara shook his hand. "You're here now. That's what matters." By noon the yard was full. Someone had set up chairs. Someone else had strung wildflowers around the porch. It looked nothing like a traditional wedding. Everything like a celebration of survival. Judge Morrison arrived with the preacher. The judge looked better than last time. Less stern. Almost grandfatherly. "Miss Bennett, you clean up nice. Though I preferred you with that fire in your eyes when you told me to mind my business about your relationship." "I apologize for that, Your Honor." "Don't." Was the most honest thing anyone said to me in years. Reminded me why I took this job. To protect people like you from bastards like Hastings." He glanced around. "Speaking of got news this morning. Hastings won't be troubling anyone again. Tried to escape custody. Deputy shot him. Dead before he hit the ground." Clara should have felt something. Relief, maybe. Satisfaction. Instead, she just felt tired. Good. He can't hurt anyone else now. No, ma'am, he cannot. The judge smiled. Now let's get you married before Cooper wears a hole in the porch from pacing. They gathered on the porch. Ruby stood beside Clara holding a bouquet of wildflowers she'd picked herself. Joe stood with Cooper gruff and proud in his Sunday clothes. The preacher was old, voice wavering but strong enough. He opened his Bible. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. Wait! Ruby tugged Clara's sleeve. Before you get married, I got something to say. Everyone looked at the 9-year-old. I know you're marrying Papa, but you're also marrying me. Right? Because we're a family. Clara knelt down. Right. We're a family. Then I got something for you. Ruby pulled out a small cloth bundle, unwrapped it carefully. Inside was a brooch. Simple. Tarnished silver with a blue stone. This was Mama's. Papa gave it to her when they got married. And Mama told me before she died that someday when Papa found someone new, I should give it to her. So she'd know Mama was okay with it. That Mama wanted us all to be happy. Clara's hands shook taking the brooch. Ruby, I can't. This is yours. No, it's yours. You're my Mama now, real as Mama Sarah was. So you should have it. Ruby's eyes filled. Is that okay? Can I have 2 Mamas, one in heaven and one here? Clara pulled the girl into her arms, held her tight. Yes, baby, you can have 2 Mamas, and they both love you more than anything. The crowd was crying. Half the women were sobbing into handkerchiefs. Even Joe was wiping his eyes. Cooper helped Clara stand. His own eyes were wet. You ready now, or should we wait for everyone to compose themselves? I'm ready. Let's do this. The preacher cleared his throat. Started again. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to witness the joining of Nathan Cooper and Clara Bennett in holy matrimony. This union has been tested by fire, literally, but love that survives fire comes out stronger, purified, and I see that in these two. So let's not waste time on long speeches. Nathan, you got vows. Cooper turned to Clara, took both her hands. I'm not good with words, never have been. But I'm going to try. Clara, 6 months ago, you were a stranger, a woman I bought out of some misguided sense of doing right. I didn't plan on loving you, didn't want to love anyone again, but you changed that, changed me, made me remember what it felt like to laugh, to hope, to want mornings because you'd be in them. You're brave and strong and stubborn, and you make me better. So I'm promising you here in front of God and everyone that I will love you, protect you, stand beside you, for as long as we both draw breath. You're my wife, my partner, my heart, and I'm yours, forever. Clara was crying, couldn't help it. Your turn, I guess. The crowd laughed. Nathan Cooper, when you rode into my father's terrible deal, I thought you were just another man wanting something. But you weren't. You wanted to help, to save me, and you did. But more than that, you gave me a reason to be saved. You gave me Ruby, gave me Joe, gave me a home and a purpose and a family I'd stopped believing existed. You're patient and kind, and you carved your daughter a swing even while preparing for war. That's the kind of man you are. Good, real, worth every bit of faith I'm placing in you. So I'm promising you here in front of everyone that I will love you, stand with you, build this life with you. You're my husband, my future, my choice, and I choose you, every day, forever. The preacher smiled. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Nathan, kiss your bride before she changes her mind. Cooper kissed her, long and thorough and not remotely appropriate for a church ceremony. The crowd whooped and hollered. Ruby jumped up and down. Joe wiped his eyes again. When they finally broke apart, Cooper was grinning. How's it feel to be Mrs. Cooper? Terrifying. Perfect. Right. Yeah, that's exactly how it feels. They celebrated into the evening. Food and music and dancing. Ruby showed everyone her new swing. Cooper pushed her high, higher, until she screamed with laughter and joy. Clara watched them. Her husband, her daughter, her family. Joe appeared beside her. "You done good, Clara Cooper. Real good." "We all did. Couldn't have survived without you. That's what family does, survives together." He handed her a glass of whiskey. "To new beginnings." "To new beginnings." They drank. As the sun set, people began leaving, thanking them, hugging them, promising to visit. The yard slowly emptied until it was just the four of them: Cooper, Clara, Ruby, and Joe. "I'm tired," Ruby announced. "Can I sleep in your room tonight? I don't want to be alone." Cooper looked at Clara. She nodded. "Of course you can, baby. Tonight and any night you need to." They tucked Ruby in. The girl was asleep before they finished the lullaby, exhausted from excitement and relief and finally feeling safe. Cooper and Clara stood in the doorway watching her breathe. "She's ours," Cooper whispered. "Really ours. She always was. Just took paperwork to make it official." They went to their own room. Cooper's room. Their room now. Clara had moved her things in that morning, her dresses hanging beside his shirts, her brush on the dresser next to his razor. Small intimacies of shared life. Cooper closed the door, leaned against it. "I don't want to presume anything, if you want to wait. Take time. I understand." Clara laughed. "Nathan Cooper, we just got married. I'm not making you sleep on the floor. I just want you comfortable." "I'm comfortable." She moved to him, started unbuttoning his shirt. "I'm more than comfortable. I'm home." They made love slowly, carefully, learning each other. It wasn't perfect, was actually awkward in places. But it was real, honest, theirs. After lying tangled together, Cooper traced patterns on Clara's shoulder. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For saying yes, for staying, for choosing this life when you could have run 100 times. Where would I run to? Everything I want is right here. Still, thank you." Clara kissed him. "Stop thanking me and go to sleep. We've got a ranch to run in the morning, and a daughter who's going to want pancakes." "Yes, ma'am." He fell asleep quickly, exhausted, safe, happy. Clara stayed awake longer, listening to him breathe, feeling his heartbeat under her palm, marveling at how far she'd come. 6 months ago she'd been nothing, nobody, a girl sold for her father's debt. Now she was Clara Cooper, wife, mother, rancher, woman who'd fought for her life and won. The future stretched ahead, uncertain in some ways, but bright, full of possibility. She thought about Sarah, about the woman who'd loved this man first, who'd given him Ruby, who'd left behind clothes and memories and a legacy of kindness. "I'll take care of them," Clara whispered to the darkness, to Sarah's ghost if ghosts existed. "I promise. I'll love them and protect them and make sure Ruby knows about you. You won't be forgotten." The house creaked. Wind through the eaves. Or maybe something else. Maybe acknowledgement. Clara closed her eyes, drifted toward sleep. In the morning they'd start their first day as a married family. There'd be work, challenges, hard times inevitably. But they'd face it together, and that made all the difference. 3 years later, Clara stood in the kitchen making breakfast. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency. Eggs, bacon, biscuits rising in the oven. Outside she could hear voices. Cooper teaching Ruby to rope fence posts. The girl was 12 now, all legs and attitude and fierce loyalty. She could ride better than most grown men, could shoot straight, could handle ranch work without complaint. The door opened. Ruby bounded in. "Mama, can we go to town today? I need new boots. Mine are getting too small." "After you finish your schoolwork." "But Mama." "Schoolwork first, then boots. That's the rule." Ruby grumbled, but went to get her books. Still called Clara Mama without hesitation. Still talked about Mama Sarah, too. Kept both women alive in her heart. Cooper came in. Kissed Clara's cheek. "Something smells good." "It's just breakfast." "It's our breakfast, in our home, with our daughter. That makes it better than anything fancy. Clara smiled. You're sentimental this morning. Can't help it. 3 years married today. Still can't believe you said yes. Still can't believe you asked. He pulled an envelope from his pocket. Got you something. Clara opened it. Inside was a deed for the land adjoining their ranch, 20 acres with a creek running through. Cooper, we can't afford. Already bought it. Been saving. Figured we could expand. Maybe build a bigger house. One with room for more kids if we're blessed. If you want that. Clara's hand went to her stomach. To the secret she'd been keeping for 2 weeks. Funny you should mention that. Cooper's eyes widened. Are you... About 3 months along. I didn't want to say anything until I was sure. He picked her up, spun her around, kissed her thoroughly. We're having a baby. We're having a baby. Ruby appeared in the doorway. Wait, what, I'm getting a brother or sister? Looks like it, Clara said. Ruby whooped. Ran to hug them both. This is the best day ever. Can we name it after Mama Sarah if it's a girl? And can we still go get boots, because I'm definitely going to need them if I'm teaching a baby to ride? They laughed. All 3 of them tangled together in the morning light. Joe came in. Took one look at them. What did I miss? Everything, Cooper said. We're having a baby. Ruby needs boots. And apparently we're expanding the ranch. Well, Joe grinned. Guess I better make extra biscuits then. We're celebrating. That evening after supper and chores and Ruby had finally gone to bed, still chattering about baby names, Cooper and Clara sat on the porch. The swing he'd carved for Ruby hung empty, waiting for the next child to use it. You happy? Cooper asked. Happier than I ever thought possible. Me too. He pulled her close. Sometimes I think about that night in the saloon. What would have happened if I'd looked away? If I'd decided it wasn't my problem? If I'd let Hastings take you? But you didn't. No, I didn't. And it changed everything. Changed me. Changed you. Changed Ruby. All because I made one decent choice. Best choice you ever made. Cooper kissed her. Second best. The first was asking you to marry me. They sat in comfortable silence, watching stars emerge, listening to night sounds, breathing in the life they'd built. Inside, Ruby slept soundly, safe, loved, whole. In town, an empty jail cell reminded everyone that justice sometimes prevailed. And across Wyoming territory, word had spread. About the rancher who'd saved a woman from slavery. About the woman who'd fought back with a skillet. About the family forged in fire and hardship and impossible choices. Their story became legend. The kind mothers told daughters. The kind that gave hope to women trapped in bad situations. The kind that proved love could triumph over cruelty if people were brave enough to fight for it. But to Clara, it was just her life. Her improbable, beautiful, hard-won life. She'd been sold for a debt and found a home. Been traded like property and discovered her worth. Been trapped by a contract and freed by love. The scars remained. Always would. On her heart. On Cooper's shoulder. On Ruby's memory of terror. But scars proved survival. Proved strength. Proved they'd lived through the worst and emerged on the other side. Clara Cooper. Wife. Mother. Survivor. Free woman. Years from now, when she was old and gray, she'd sit on this same porch with grandchildren and great-grandchildren asking about the past. And she'd tell them the truth. That sometimes the worst moments lead to the best endings. That family is chosen as much as born. That love requires courage. That freedom is worth fighting for. That one person's decision to do right can change everything. But mostly, she'd tell them this. That cold November night, when a rancher rode into a saloon and said 2 simple words, he didn't just save her life. He gave her one worth living. And in return, she gave him the same. They saved each other. Built something beautiful from ashes. Proved that even in the brutal frontier, even when everything seemed lost, hope survived. Love survived. They survived. And in the end, That was the only story that mattered.